Hello and welcome back to another Loose Warhammer. I think we're episode 4?
Let's say 4.
I think it's 4, it might be 3. I think it's 4. You've got me, the Duke, him, the Loremaster, I'm working on a Kairos today, and you look like you're working on a gyrocopter.
Gyrocopters.
And of course we have
Zufbar. Sorry. Airfleet Zufbar.
It sounded like you said Zlufbar.
Well, you hear lots of weird and wonderful things.
We of course have the mystery chair, the empty chair, for our guest today, who is Alex Foster. Come on in, join us. We'll move out of the way. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you for coming down.
No worries. So obviously we're going to have you on a Loose Warhammer, not Loose Warhammer, we're on Loose Warhammer.
We're on Loose Warhammer now.
Taking the crown
I
later in the month. Although for us it's a bit weird because we've already filmed it.
Yep.
So,
hence the dry god look.
Yep. So we'll do our best not to give away any spoilers. But yeah, so we've got you on a Take the Crown coming in 2 weeks from when this comes out. And are you painting stuff that's in relation to what you'll have used / will be using?
Well, I've got to touch up my Death Hag because
Yep.
I broke the spike.
That's upsetting.
And then I've got a Fleetmaster conversion from the Gladiatrix.
Ooh, very
Oh,
nice.
the one from
The one that
she normally has like
box
a
or whatever,
whip
yeah.
spin.
Yeah, the
doesn't
whip
she?
got replaced with the spiky sword thing from the Black Dragon
technical term.
Sorceress
Yep.
kit.
Yeah.
I'll replace the rock with the one from the Hydra Fleetmaster. Not
Oh,
Fleetmaster,
nice.
Beastmaster.
Yep.
It's two Age of Sigmar, so it's got an actual rock. The cloak is from a Dark Rider with a lot of green stuff on the back. I
Nice.
don't know if it's going to be skin or scales yet. I'm torn between it being a cloak of stitched up skin
Ooh.
Okay.
or it being scales, because scales are easier.
I have painted that sort of thing in the
Yeah.
past, and I found that quite tricky.
Quite tricky.
Stitched up skin, but
Yeah, because
I've seen people do it, and I
I'd be
don't
a
know how to do
sadist
it.
and do different skin tones.
yeah, that's what I did. Had some
Yeah.
different skin tones, and I struggled. It took me 2 or 3 attempts before I was happy, basically.
But yeah, this is the second attempt of priming. The first time got a bit bitty, so she had to get stripped within an hour,
Oh, okay.
which meant the cloak fell off.
I see.
Yeah,
It looks
dear,
really
dear.
good though.
Yeah, I'm
Really
looking
like
forward
it.
to
Does
getting
look
painted.
nice, actually.
And you're using it as a
Fleetmaster.
Fleetmaster.
Yeah, because I want to pay 70 points for a wound and a special rule.
It's
And then I've got this guy who might be, if it works out, the start of Corsair themed Black Guard.
oh nice. He
If
looks
it
really
works.
good. So that's Blackguard arms.
Black Guard arms, Dark Rider head, and Corsair body and torso.
Oh nice. So
The arms actually work really well.
They do
Yeah, they
work
look good there, don't
surprisingly well.
Yeah.
If I could, I would try Executioners, but I've already made 25 of them.
yeah, yeah. I also think it would be really hard to make those capes and those arms
Yeah,
interact.
I'd have
Yeah.
to, like, I don't know, maybe actually be some of the few people using Wildwood Ranger arms.
Oh yeah. I see.
Yeah.
But I think I'd be
That might work
the
actually.
one person in the world actually using that.
No, that's not fair. James has got 30
It says,
of
it
them.
says
Bill.
that actually one of my Executioners does have the Wildwood Executioner thing. And
They're
some of
nice
my shades
weapons.
do.
Those wild
They are
weapons.
nice.
Yeah, my Shade's got some as well.
They're really nice weapons. It's
You were
just-
going to use them for some of your Sneshi Warriors.
I
weren't
was very tempted to use those blades as heads for my halberds,
Mm.
and then I came up with
you? A much easier way.
Yeah, the two-handed, the what are they called? Myrmidesh Painbringer's kit has a two-handed sword for.
The names for Age of Sigmar are a bit bizarre, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
There's another. Is it Twin Souls or something? Is the other thing you can build? And one of the weapons for them is like a two-handed sword. But
Right.
actually, if you just take the sword off at the handle, it's perfect halberd head length. So I've got those and some hafts from spears, and I'm beavering away at making a very complicated
Just make
conversion
sure
with
you
lots
pin
of
them.
pins. Yeah,
Yeah.
that keeps all that together. But I'm a couple of
When you could have just
halberd.
bought the new Warriors Chaos box
Yeah, I could have, but I really wanted them to fit with the rest of the stuff I've got going on in that Sinesh army.
and not remortgage your house.
No, they are really expensive. 36, 37 pound for 5.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, I've got 40.
Okay, could you not go for a reputable auction house for bits?
Yeah, I have been going around trying to get the actual halberd blades. See, I got there was a fella that was selling some, and he was selling, I want to say 3 boxes for the price of 2,
That's not too bad.
which was painful, but I bought them.
Obviously.
And then I had,
Yeah.
or is it 4 boxes for the price of 3? I can't remember. And I had some that I'd picked up. I picked up a couple of those Dread Carnivals, what they were like. You remember they did the Christmas box? I picked up a couple of those.
Yeah.
So I've got a load of ones with 2 hand weapons that are sort of about a third of the units painted, And then I've suddenly realised that I'd like to do halberds because they're actually better.
Yeah.
So I've now bought them all again, effectively. But
Fair enough.
I could have been doing them now, but
Give you lots of choice.
I could have. Yeah, well that's it. I mean, it also lets me do chosen as an option.
Yeah, that's true.
I could have been doing them now, but Scott asked me if I would look at seriously at some gyrocopters at some point because he'd like to see air fleets of Bar make its appearance on the channel.
Do we have to see dwarves?
They're very good against elves. The gyrocopter spam, I must say. Less good against not elves.
They're pretty good against Empire.
Yeah, they're alright.
I don't think toughness 3 they're pretty good at.
Yeah.
Night goblins just burn them alive.
Yes.
Although you got to watch out for the fanatics because they sort of fly through in all different angles and they're a very real threat for the gyros.
Which is a bit odd, really, considering the fanatics are on the floor and the gyros are very much not.
Yeah, they could also hit a flying dragon.
Yeah, they can. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just represents them flinging themselves about and
If anything's going to do it, it'd be a night goblin fanatic. Can you imagine the bragging rights if one of them managed to hit a dragon by jumping up 20 feet?
I imagine they'd be pretty silent because I'm definitely sure that Night Goblin fanatic is dead.
Yeah, probably.
He's definitely
his
dead.
mates would brag.
But his legacy lives on.
His mates would brag saying they were the ones that threw him.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that's how they do it. Now, the thing is, like, do I want to keep the scheme as my Corsairs, or do I want to do a different colour?
I might be tempted to see if there's a way you could like invert something.
Because
I don't know if
my
that's
Corsairs have got blue and green scaled cloaks.
Okay, so like.
Are they all like the base of the cloak is blue and then the scales are green, or the other way around?
No,
or is it all just a
they're
mix?
all green or all blue.
Right. Okay.
Because I had a lot to do in a very short space of time.
That's cool.
Because I had a lot of models to paint in 8 months for last year's derby.
Yeah, which we saw an absolutely wild moment in your game actually there, which I think we might have talked about at the time
it was pretty brutal
on the channel. But that was your absolutely crushing of a very large unit of, was it beasts or was it?
There was
Plague Bearers?
34 Plague Bearers, Epi and a Herald with a BSB on Palanquin.
And when you'd finished the round of combat, you had what left out of that?
The BSB on 2 wins.
And then double won the leadership check. Got
It
all back.
It happens. It happens.
So-
You can't. The dice, just do the dice.
But that was crazy. I've seen some wild times, but that was like with the getting wounds back. But I don't think ever quite
that much.
That much, yeah. That was
Well, you
quite
know,
insane.
sometimes some people are just magnets to that sort of luck of where things
yes.
shouldn't happen.
Yes. Some people are magnets for weird luck.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Ugh.
Oh dear. But speaking of Dark Elves, as you are painting them and they are your army, we were actually sent a list by, I should have written his name down. I want to say Stefan. I want to say that's his name. If I've got your name wrong, I do apologise. But we were sent a list, and I believe, I'm going to make another educated guess, I believe you are from Sweden. It's somewhere in Scandinavia. But you sent us over a list.
We are on fire right now.
We're on fire. I'm really
staying
sure written all this
silent
down.
on this one.
But yeah, so you sent us over a list that you hoped we might be able to get a chance to run on the channel. It's possible that we don't have all of it
At the moment,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but we might at some point, but we thought we would have a chat about it. So the list I've got in front of me, it's a Dreadlord. He's on a black dragon, he's got heavy armour, sea dragon cloak, a shield, dawnstone, giant blade, and the other trickster shard.
All the good stuff.
Pretty
For
standard.
that one-up rerollable save. Death Hag on a cauldron with the ogre blade and the rune of Cain. So very scary little Death Hag there.
Very good as well.
Yeah, Master BSB with, on a dark steed with heavy armour, sea dragon cloak, a shield, and the ring of Hotep. A level 1
Also
sorceress.
good.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, level 1 sorceress on beasts with a power stone. 2 units of 5 dark riders with crossbows and shields. 34 witch elves with full command and the razor standard for 449 points because no one wants to pay that -1 comp. 23 executioners, full command, banner of eternal flame. 2 bolt throwers, 5 shades, 5 doomfires.
What comp is this one? Do we know?
Off the top of my head,
Shout out what's there, we'll get there.
0, 2. I want to say +2.
Okay.
Oh no, more than that. You got no level 4. +4.
No
No-
level
no
4
dispel
plus
either.
1.
Yeah.
No dispel scroll is
+2.
so that's
That's +3. You've got a cauldron with more witch elves than the
in the limit.
limit, so that's -2. So you're on +1.
Yeah.
Then
XX
you've got
and 26 for the minus one. So
you've got a non-spellcaster on a monster.
Is that
Okay, that's +1. So that's plus two. Yeah.
So maybe +2?
Yeah.
So we might
Somewhere
see
around
this-
the +2.
Could look like a Derby level list then.
Yeah, could be a Derby level list. So yeah, thoughts on that list, gents?
I'm always... people don't like this one, but I don't like kitting out my Death Hag. She's 2 wounds, 5 up invuln.
Yeah.
Ward save, I should say. And she just dies so quickly.
Yeah, if people
King,
target
that's
her,
90 points.
she does go over if she's targeted.
I'd also be tempted to go for the sort of anti-heroes over the... What blade did the...
Ogre Blade.
Dreadlord had
Yeah.
the Ogre Blade.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
The
Giant.
Blade.
That's plus
Yeah.
3 strength, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty basic.
That's never mind. I thought I had the Ogre Blade.
Although with the dragon, there is an argument for not having such a high strength. Although
Yeah.
I would definitely do it.
Yeah. To be honest though, with the dragon, I could see just going for a lance to keep him
Best way.
cheaper.
He's got a Black Dragon Egg. 2 breath weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you wanna
it's
go-
not a bad
if you-
shout.
It is 50 points and also keeps him alive for that turn where you need toughness 6 because elves are squishy.
He doesn't have a ward save,
No,
Uh,
he
which
doesn't.
is the big
That
thing.
is killing blow territory.
For me,
That's cannon territory.
yeah,
Ooh.
cannon, or even just small arms fire.
yeah.
You've
What
got to
about-
be really careful.
They're probably not going to get through the 1-up rerollable.
I am kind of
Just
worried
small
about the
arms.
Master BSB. He doesn't have a very big bunker to sit in.
No, I think the idea behind where he goes is he actually sits in the Witch Elves, so just on the edge of them.
But you could get stabbed there.
you
Could
Could
get
get stabbed.
stabbed. He does have a 1-up save, so he's
Would the armor piercing
probably not
work
going to
against
die.
him?
Yeah.
Wow, it'd still be 1 up then. wouldn't
No,
But-
it doesn't because they're not combat attacks.
Okay.
They're just D6 strength 3 hits that he takes.
Oh, is
There's-
Razor Standard only combat attacks? Oh, of
Well,
course
they have
they won't
armor
end up.
piercing. It's not like it's not an
Yeah,
attack
yeah.
that gets armor
Yeah, of course.
piercing. It's just he takes
Well, it
D6
wouldn't
strength.
matter
It's
either
not
way.
the Witch Elves attack him, it's just...
Yeah, it's just
but
yeah, it's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
Bit of a grey area.
Yeah, because I suppose they wouldn't attack at strength 4 if they were Wissen's.
No,
They wouldn't
it
attack
hits.
him at strength 4.
Well,
No.
Power from Pain,
Yeah,
can't forget
fair.
that.
Yeah, Power from Darkness. Yeah.
Power from Darkness.
Well, no dark.
No.
Only a level 1 Beast Wizard.
That's a strange law to
To
have
be
a level
honest,
1.
it's just for the Wissens, isn't it, really?
That's still a
Strength
10
4
plus
Witch
to
Elves.
cast on level 1.
I like the
Yeah, it's a
Wissens
throwing
a
dice,
lot, but it is a lot of
That's what I
dice for a level 1.
Well, they've only got 2 spells. So if you roll high on your dice, your opponent's got 6 of spell dice. The odds
That's
of
the
them...
thing. I think if you've not got a level 4 in this sort of, or you're not spamming lots of spells on lots of level 1s and 2s, I probably just wouldn't bother going, unless you want to take the wizard for the scroll, I probably just wouldn't bother taking a wizard. If you really don't want a level 4, or you really want that Dreadlord on a Black
Has he
Dragon.
got a scroll in there?
No
Power
Power
Stone.
Stone.
So again, I can see the point you're making, and it does resonate with me a little bit. Although we have to be careful not to be an echo chamber sometimes and say, well, you know, we would do this or we would do that.
Yeah.
So it's,
I do want to say I do like the list. It needs more Corsairs. But that's just me.
there's a lot of there's a lot of strong elements. You've got a big unit of Witch Elves, and you've got Executioners as well, was there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
23.
23.
Banner of Eternal
Little less
Flame.
than I want,
I quite like
but-
the Gleaming Pennant on my Executioners.
So I don't go for Banner of Eternal Flame on Great Weapon units. I did at the start of the edition a lot, but when you've won too many Demon Prince with Dragonbane Gem, has really soured that experience for me. If I'm being completely
But if you're going
honest.
at a +2 comp, if you're going for Derby, how many Demon Princes do you get in that -2 to +2 area?
The
I've only
Warriors
been to
can
one
do it.
Derby, so I don't.
Yeah, I mean
know.
they will do it. They'll just end up taking some soft stuff around it
Couple of
potentially.
Hellstriders.
Like a lot of Hellstriders, probably 2 units.
Couple of Hellstriders.
So,
Yeah, I just realised you can only get +2.
No scroll, that's a very
Yeah,
standard
yeah.
plus for warriors.
Chaos take no scroll a lot.
Yeah.
you can.
Because the prince can't take one, or doesn't take one. He
Yeah.
could, but doesn't.
and they usually bring Festus.
Yeah.
Festus is very.
Max does anyway.
I think Max has had a huge impact on the community at large with Festus. Though,
Yeah.
because he wasn't as common as he seems to be
But we are
now.
getting sidetracked.
That's one. But I mean,
I do love
this
them.
is what we do on this.
I do love the Ring of Hotech. If I could squeeze it into my list, I would. But 50 points is a lot when I don't have many characters. And I love the idea of it.
I just don't think the Witch Elves need it. Obviously, it makes them really, really hard to kill.
Is it
with
going
spells.
in the witches?
He said his master normally goes in the witches.
Oh, do you?
I would have it on the execs.
I'd put them on foot then,
Because the fact that witches have got a 4-up ward already,
Yeah.
it gives them a 2-up ward against the spell against things like Fiery Convoc.
Yeah.
I agree that is good.
Yeah,
But,
there's no denying that. But I think, like you say, it's better used in the XX to give them a 4-up as well.
Well, if you put them on foot, you've got an option to put them in either. I mean, what does the Dark Steed give him? It gets him from a 2-up to a 1-up, but then you don't get the lockout sir.
No, and it gives. I suppose it gives him the manoeuvrability of if
Unless
he
he
needs
has
to
a
get out
very
of
nice
dodge
model
or-
for it.
Yeah, that's always a very compelling
In which
argument.
case, rule of cool always wins.
But yeah, I think I'd agree. I think I'd definitely drop the Dark Steed off that BSB because I just don't think it's necessary.
You could combine the 2 Dark Rider units. Ooh,
You could.
I just noticed he hasn't got musos in those.
No.
To be fair, I don't normally with elf fast cav.
Do you know the +1
No.
+1 leadership on the?
+1 to rally's nice,
Yeah.
although it's not often. I have to say, you know, people watch me play a few games now. I don't often flee a great deal. If I put my cavalry in a position,
Not voluntarily, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if I put my cavalry in
plan
that
to flee
position, it's
either.
because I want to. It's because I want you to kill them, so that
Yeah.
you are put into a position.
You're overrun,
yeah, or you're blocked off.
angled in a certain
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
That's probably why I've got them there. So for me,
I think that's fair.
I just tend to save those points. Just personal thing. I
Okay,
think.
fair enough.
I would, however, in missile units that can move and shoot, so I don't bother with the dwarves I'm painting now. But I'd
Like
always,
dark shards.
yeah, and again,
Or other elf.
and I think like units of monstrous cav, the first thing that goes in for me is a muso, the first
bit of
command.
command.
Yeah. And then I get really upset if I lose that bit of command. So, like if I have to drop the command because I haven't got enough points, that's when I get upset. But yeah, I'm a big fan of just the swift reforming on those types of regiments, but I'm not going to use the swift reforming on the fast cav.
No, that's a
They've
very
got
good
all of that
point.
baked in.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd leave that off personally.
Yeah.
So I
That's
don't
fair.
mind what he's done there. I think that's quite a cool move.
Keeps him cheap as well for chaff.
But yeah, if we wanted to keep the guy in the BSB, you could just make one big unit Dark Riders, but then you have lost your chaff.
Yeah. Yeah. Bit of a shame to only. Although you've got shades actually,
Yeah.
so it'd still have the shades. The Dark Riders can act as chaff if they have to in that sort of sacrificial way. But
I
they're
do love
also
the shades.
they will also go into any medium-sized unit and actually put a lot of hurt out with
Well,
that
if
master in
you
there.
sling a lance on a master, and you've got him in there, that they'll kill a lot.
Yeah, if he's on Dark Siege, you might as well give him the lance anyway.
Yeah.
+2 strength on the charge, it's nothing to sniff at.
Yeah. Nearly painted my jeans white, but we're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I see what he's going for with the Ring of Hotech, but for me, it probably doesn't go in the Witches.
I've used it a few games, and it's been
It's
fun, but I've never
It's
felt
good.
like it made a huge difference to run an extra character.
Well, that's the big thing. Is like, well, what am I losing for it? I think, and am I taking out a whole character for it? And if I am, there's a question mark there for me.
But it is a BSB, so you know.
Yeah, I think you'd be taking that character anyway, but equally I think those 50 points could be spent elsewhere on making him more killing.
Yeah, some people would
Has
say.
he got any Doomfire Warlocks?
Five, yeah.
So you could go into Doomfire
Could go
Warlocks,
into
and,
Doomfire.
and there, the Ring of Hotech in there
Oh, that's a good
is
point.
really good.
That's 2+ ward, isn't it, on a lot of them?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but is it worth the ring, or do you take the 30-point Magic Rest too?
Possibly, but I
Because
mean,
they've got 4
you get the
anyway.
miscast chance then, don't you?
You do, and I
Which
suppose
you only
on something
pay 5
particularly
points for.
fast.
Well, I mean,
he's good.
how many people sling a magic missile at them?
Yeah,
I mean,
Doomfire's
that's
quite a lot.
almost always my go-to,
Yeah.
particularly if I'm running Laura Light, which I do with 2 or 3 armies. I'm straight in there with a banishment. It's my first banishment target, that
I
one.
do like how it's not a Death Hack BSB.
Yeah, you're a big fan of
Yeah.
leaving it off the Death Egg, aren't you?
Yeah, because like I said earlier, the Death Hack dies a lot. You get the Death Hack for the Cauldron, you don't get the Death Hack for the Death Hack.
Yes, very
Yeah,
true.
fair.
And to be fair, I run her with Corsairs, so it's useful to have the poison, so that's why I don't give her a magic weapon. But Rune of Cain, 50 points for D3 extra attacks. It's a lot of points. It's 50 points, isn't it? Or is it 40?
I think it's 40.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere
It's not
around
quite 50, I don't think. But I see the point you're making. I do like it. Averagely, it will give a 2.
Yeah.
But again, I don't like it without a magic weapon. For me, it's
Yeah,
magic
yeah.
weapon and the rune, or not, or
nothing.
or neither.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. I would do it that way. This is dreadful at this stage. Just everyone at home, you can't really see this, I'm sure, but this just looks dreadful at this point. So.
I'm really going just to sort of put it on and see what it looks like with Kairos here.
Nice.
I knew I was going to do in contrast. I know it's going to be contrast, but I think I'm going to try and... I'm going to do this whole feathery wing in this athematic blue contrast, which is actually green.
Oh, well, it's a turquoise, that, isn't it?
yeah.
It's a Sotec green type colour.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not going to get into the blue-green debate, are we?
But yeah, I think maybe Talasar at the top sort of parts of the feathers.
I really
blends down.
I tell you what I want to do with contrast more than anything. I want to spend an afternoon just seeing what I can do blend wise with them. I feel like I could do some really cool blending with them, but
I love contrast.
That would involve me buying them, having time to spend doing them, and that's really the beginning, middle, and end of the entire conversation.
Yeah. What I found is quite a good one is even if you prime black, you can put a couple of layers of Kislev flesh over it, Gulliman's flesh, and then highlight the Kislev flesh.
And that's nice. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
I always
nice.
struggle with flesh, but the contrast paints are really good for it.
So that's a good little use for them.
Yeah, that is a nice tip. I tend to
can't
go.
remember where I saw that. I think I was looking at painting helm.
No. So it was your own. So you discovered it. So
No, I'm not a painting wizard. I just like research.
Generally, I will. If I want like a fair skin, like a sort of elf skin, or I will go Cadian flesh tone, Kislev flesh, then I'll shade it with Reikland flesh shade.
Yeah.
And then I'll re-highlight it with Kislev flesh. And then if that's like a pale-skinned human, if I want to go up another layer, then I'll bring in some Screaming Skull or Flayed One flesh. I mean, they're almost the same colour.
That sounds way too many layers.
Oh yeah, he does. He does like 50% more layers than you actually need to.
But something like dwarves, like these guys, they'll get... I haven't got any flesh on these ones actually. They'll get Bugman's Glow, Cadian flesh tone, a shade, maybe Recadian flesh tone. Nothing more. So you've got quite a sort of a pinky sort of face.
I've been doing that a few different styles on my ogres while I was painting my man eaters because they're all from obviously different parts. They've been to different parts of the world. So some are tan, some are paler. So all the skin's sort of a bit different. And I think it's so easy to, even using the same colours, it's so easy to get skin to look different.
Yeah, if you're bringing in the weight of the washes
and
the point,
what you highlight, what
which
you
colours
start
you use.
with. So I always base it Bugman's.
Yep.
It's a good strong start.
Then I'll always, sometimes it's a dry brush, a heavy dry brush. Sometimes I just go over the whole thing in Cadian, depending on what sort of final tone I want.
Yep.
Then I'll either wash it before I put the Cadian on, then put the Cadian on if I want the Cadian to be the sort of final level. Or I'll put the Cadian on, then wash it, then do Kislev. And then if I want it really pale, like you said, I can bring in a bit of that Screaming Skull colour over the Kislev as a dry brush or a dry brush. It's not really an edge highlight.
I love
faces.
I love the different painting styles that we are sharing at the moment.
Faces.
I might layer it, then I bring some edging in. Scott's like, I dry brush it.
Dry brushing is the way forward.
He gets
It
a lot
really
more
is.
done than me.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Dry brushing is the way forward. You need to know when to dry brush when you just need a decent looking paint and when to highlight when you want it to pop out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think actually edge highlighting a lot of the time doesn't make sense for flesh. On faces you get those really sharp, particularly elven faces, you get those really sharp sort of edges like on ears or the nose or the cheekbones or the jaw sometimes. But I think generally it makes more sense to dry brush it because it gets a smoother sort of transition from that darker to
I mean
lighter colour.
on flatter flesh you need to blend it.
Yeah.
Also depends how old the sculpt is.
Yeah. Yeah,
'Cause I don't know
you've
if
got to
you-
work with the model you've got.
If any of you have painted like 20 old year sculpts.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's an experience. What, is this flesh? Is it shoulder blade? Is it back? What is it? I don't know. Let's paint it and find out.
That's why I love to paint the demons. It's just, it's all just demon. Okay, lovely. Slap some contrast on it. Lovely, beautiful.
Yeah, you and Max actually have both really gone in on contrast hard, and it's again like I say, for me it's not that I don't like the idea of it. I just feel like it's a whole new way of painting for me, and I'm at that stage in my life where I just don't want to spend a lot of time learning to paint again. Almost.
I wouldn't recommend, for someone like you, I wouldn't recommend using it as like a new way to paint. I would look at them as a load of different washes.
Yes, they are an extra tool in the toolbox.
Yeah, a lot of glazing, and that's what I mean. I think like blending and stuff and glazing is where I see a lot of use for myself because I make so much stuff myself.
Yeah.
With colours and filling it and doing this or doing that, and that would probably save me a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
because you saw the difference between the blue on my Empire and the blue on that ogre I painted.
Yeah.
And that was literally the same colours, but I just put Talasar blue over the ogre. And it looks so much richer, so much more the blue I actually wanted, so I've now got to go over the Empire and put that blue on them.
Well, that's why I do all the blue glazing.
Yeah.
With which Talisar blue is the exact same colour as what was the old Games Workshop blue glaze.
Yeah.
So that's where you're getting that richness
Bit
from.
before my time of painting properly.
Oh, that makes me.
What was
feel
that
good.
blue glaze called?
Gulliman.
Was it Gulliman's glaze?
Ah.
Gulliman blue glaze.
If you've got any
I'm
of
sure.
those people spend a fortune getting those glazes.
They do.
When they announced that they were taking them off, I went and just bought like 3 or 4 pots of each
Yeah.
because I use them for so much stuff.
I've still got a bloodletter one kicking about.
Even like when I'm doing like glass swords and all that sort of stuff, which I don't do as
Glass
much for
swords?
fantasy. You know, like the sort of blended
I like
weaponry, like crystal
I was
weaponry.
going to say like power swords. Are we allowed
Yeah,
to
like
mention
power
it?
swords,
Are we allowed
yeah.
to mention other systems?
Power swords, or if I did
Other
I-
inferior games are available.
I did a green one not too long ago for Thalandor
Ah.
Yeah.
for the channel.
Yeah, you
I
did.
probably got it. I think it's in
It's in the
next
other room.
door. Yeah, I'll just get it, so I can show you what we mean. But again, I like
He
them
likes
for
to
that,
show off his painting.
to softening up.
I've
the,
learned that being here though over the day. He does like to show off.
Oh yeah. Doesn't stop.
No, not
It's
really.
all about him.
He likes to talk.
He missed a Manfred earlier as well on a reputable auction
Why
site.
did you bring that up? If any of you didn't hear that, viewers, we just got shouted at by the door.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Oh dear. I think that's the 12th time it's been mentioned. In
Oh
2
yeah,
hours.
we're definitely in double figures.
Definitely.
Definitely in double figures.
Yeah.
But it's okay because he's not carried on about it at all. No.
No,
No, not at all.
No,
I
unless
really
someone
like
brings
his blues.
unless someone brings it up. Contrasts are useful.
Really
Some of
likes
them are a bit
I
of
love
the
it.
duds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the white.
Yeah, that's a funny one. I feel like I'd never use it to paint white.
Don't know where it is.
So anticlimactic.
Yeah. But I think it's really good if you want to paint grey
Yes.
just as a wash because it
Was
really gives you some
Celestial
depth.
white.
But
Or
there's
something?
some lazier
Apothecary
versions of
white,
the
I think
thing I
it is.
mean here.
Oh,
And
okay.
also here.
Kind of looks like a non-metallic metal,
Yeah,
which I still haven't even attempted.
No, neither.
It was actually it's actually done with metallics, but when you use the glazing over the back, over the end, you can make it look not as metallic. Again, here this is a very lazy version of the same sort of thing.
Oh, it's a Manfred.
He is a Manfred.
Yeah.
Don't start on Manfred.
It's a flying Manfred, not a not flying Manfred, which is what I wanted.
In metal.
I can only blame myself. I had
Yes.
one, sold it. Now I want it back. Classic.
Classic James move.
That's why I always feel like you should either
Classic move.
sell the entire army or sell nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
Because if you get rid of the entire army, you sold the entire army.
Yeah.
I thought
Oh, silly.
that. Yeah, I know it was dangerous.
Yeah.
That
That's where you went wrong.
Yeah, I thought at the time that they brought out the end times that what we were going to see was in the new
With just a new edition.
was a new edition of the game, and that new edition Manfred would be on the dog, so there was no point in having him on a horse anymore, and I got offered a really nice price for him, so I thought, well, you know, I can go for that, so I sold it, but you know, I have regret now.
Have seller's regret.
Could be worse.
I could have missed one this morning on a reputable auction
bargain
site that
as
was for
well.
an absolute bargain. Whoever you are, if you're watching this, well played, sir. 17 quid. What a
Is that
touch.
including postage?
No, there's a little bit of postage, but even so, that's a great price.
Yeah.
That is a good bargain.
They normally go for sort of 40 or 50.
Which
Yeah.
is mental for one model.
Yep. Yeah, the market has gone.
That's why I collected Dark Elves when I started that November 21.
Yeah, so you were sort of
mo-
coming in like after the game, really, after the...
Yeah, well, I played a bit of 8th quite a while ago against an opponent who didn't like letting me win.
Oh, nice.
I was using
what that feels like.
I was using Skaven and from the Island of Blood box, amazing box set.
Oh,
yeah,
so
And it was still the 7th edition High Elf rules where the Banner of the World Dragon was immune to magic, so I had no way to stop a block of 30 Swordmasters with Skaven, which tore me apart every game.
Yeah, that's upsetting.
Yeah, they're tough. Maybe Plague Monks with
I was also a poor child.
additional attacks.
So I think I
Plague
had
possibly?
120 Skaven clan rats,
Yeah, that's not going
20 storm vermin, lots of war machines which kept blowing themselves up.
That's upsetting.
And the War Machines are... actually, in that book, the War Machines were quite good.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been
Yeah.
affected by
Been
the
affected by
old
the
Boltwood.
old Boltwood, yeah.
So let's just hope those warp lightning cannons hit.
Yeah,
Well,
which
it,
is
was
always
it
tough.
was mainly all the little ones. I had like two
the weapons
two wind
teams.
mortars,
Yeah.
2 of the flamethrowers and a rattling
Tell you
gun.
what, the Flamers and the Windmillers were
They're
very
pretty
good.
That rattling
Yeah.
gun killed many high elves.
Yeah, barbecued Swordmaster is a delicacy in Skaven Blight, so
Yeah.
I hear. So
But yeah, I got into that a little bit, and then I had vampire counts and decided it wasn't really my army, and started looking for another one, and then got peer pressure into buying a book, and here we are today.
Dark Elves are great though.
Well, most of the majority of the range is still available. The models look stunning.
Yes.
The book was a bit expensive, but it's a lovely book.
Yeah, my book was very expensive.
I think Max's book was it your book or Max's book that spent a ridiculous amount of money on it?
Max spent a lot of money on. Yeah, it was a Dark Elf book.
It was
wasn't
Dark Elves.
Yeah, Max spent a lot of money. I ended up spending a lot of money and then got it. It had a page ripped, so I got some of the money back. So it wasn't as bad.
Oh, it could have been worse.
Yeah, you didn't.
I think I ended up spending about 35 on it.
I think mine was,
had one of the
I
pages
think mine was
slightly
about a
ripped.
similar price new from Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Or like one of those bookstores that sell through
Yeah.
Amazon. I got linked to it by a mate. Went, oh, I heard you'd like this. Buy this. Other auction sites are available.
Other reputable online retailers.
Can you call Amazon reputable?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, I don't wanna get
so
sued.
Amazon are very reputable. I buy from them
It's
regularly.
not my show, so I can say what I want.
The views of our guests are not the views of Triple Crown Wargaming.
If I'm the cause of that being added to every video, my golden life is successful.
completed.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm just thinking about how funny that disclaimer could be. But
Oh, I really want it to be at the front of this video now.
yeah, I think
The
we have
views
to.
expressed within this video.
But no sound, just a black screen with that written on it. The views expressed by some guests.
But what faction like symbol would you put next to it? Like a Skaven face or something next to it.
Probably our logo, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably would have to be. That's a faction symbol. We're a faction now, right?
We're a faction. We're basically official.
We're basically a faction.
So I'm in
you
a
look
room
at
with
the,
you either side of me. Is this like initiation to
So-
something?
Someone on the internet quoted us somewhere and was like, "You should follow what these guys say because they're basically official." I'm not sure where
We
that
are
came
right
from.
in that way.
But we are having a lovely afternoon. Thank you for your wonderful comments.
To be
about
fair,
us.
That was the Beastman
Was it like a tactics
1D
page?
4chan
Was it?
tactics page.
Amazing.
oh, was it?
I was just told about it. I didn't
Sites
see it.
are available.
I don't even know if that's updated anymore. If you have to kind of like look at a kind of like the way back sort of style.
Oh well,
There
we're
was a-
on to the second coat, guys. Of the blue on the bodywork.
It's not that cold, is it?
It's that thin.
Then your paints, guys.
So
But not that much.
this is straight out of the pot. I'm not even gonna lie.
See, we talked about all these techniques, and I'm the one with the least level of skill, and I use a wet palette. and
Yeah, you're
nothing.
very much. Yeah, no. It's just a case of knowing what you can absolutely get away with. I think. I think that's what painting for. Oh, too long. Oh, don't make yourself feel bad. 20.
When he says bad, he means old.
Yeah.
20, almost, yeah, over, yeah, 23 years. When you're painting for 23
Hold the
years,
Kairos upside down. So the paint doesn't drip.
that's the thing that I think is the biggest
Might not have even been
takeaway
in school then, you know.
for 23 years. of
23
painting.
years ago.
Yeah, I might have just
Well,
started
I was
primary
only
school.
in school.
Might have just started primary school.
20.
I think I was at
mate.
daycare when I was
23
at
years
school.
ago, I was 3.
Nice.
Oh, you're younger than me.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
that's a
I would have
surprise.
23 years ago.
Hey, whoa.
23
How old do
years.
I look? How bad do I look?
Bad.
I can't answer that question on video.
So that's
on, man.
evidence.
Evidence in the slander trial.
Yep. So here we are.
Would be slander as well.
I
We
think
all know from a certain old James Johnson Spider-Man film that libel is written and slander is spoken. If any of you actually watch the Tobey Maguire films, they're worth a watch.
they're great.
They
Yeah.
are- God, he looks old now as well,
Missed a
doesn't he?
He does. Well, he is. He's like 40. I mean, he's not old, but you know, he's not 15 like Peter Parker's meant to be. Is what I'm saying.
He's the one that's approaching 40, realises 40's not that old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, anytime.
But yeah,
I'm not here to make friends.
I think that is what you. That's what that's the biggest thing that you get from experience. Like you can learn the techniques. I know guys have been painting like 5 minutes and they're way better at a lot of these techniques than me. But it's that knowing what you can absolutely get away with.
It's
and
getting the
what you
most
can't.
out of speed and final like end result.
What can I get away with? And I
Yeah, some
remember,
people can paint a whole army beautifully in about 2 days, and it's like, how?
I remember
Yeah.
about 12, 13 years ago, that being dead slow on everything, never being able to find a way to like find saving the time, and that was like friends I was making at the time were like this is the
You had friends.
this is the stage that you're at. You know what I mean? Like, and you'll
When he
start
locks
to
you in the room, you
realise
kind of
now.
got to be his friend.
Oh,
haven't you? Yeah, especially when he's sitting next to the entrance.
Thanks.
Anytime.
You'll start to realise that like that's saving the time becomes the thing that you get better and better at.
Yeah.
Rather than
the technique.
yeah, the techniques you hit a ceiling. I mean, certainly for someone like me, unless you want to start spending hours and hours and hours like really learning techniques, I'll probably never be able to do.
You thought about trying an airbrush?
Yeah, I've got one.
Oh, fair.
And a lot of stuff. All my frost hearts are airbrushed and blended like
That was originally the excuse that he hadn't painted more gyrocopters, was that he needed to set the
Well, I was
airbrush up.
planning on doing that, but then I started to look at. I thought about when I painted the first one, and it was the bodywork took ages to do what I'm doing now. But then I thought to myself, looking at the model, if I spray them blue, that's great, but there's a lot of silver.
all the back,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's a bit like when I painted the Khemri cats, the sphinxes. I found that I thought about spraying one gold, and I looked at it and I was like, it's basically 50% black, 50% gold. Whatever I do, he's going to take ages.
Yeah, so unless you build like a gyrocopter in like sub-assemblies, where you just leave the front off, spray that blue, spray the rest silver, it's not really going to make a huge difference.
Try
You're
and
not
do that
going to
really
get a
hard.
big win.
No. Yeah,
and I actually
Spraying
got
stuff.
most of, in fact, all of these gyrocopters I got off of a friend that was packing up the hobby, and he was getting rid. So
Already
I was like, and they had all built, and he'd been gaming with them, but they weren't painted, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I took all them off of him, and hence having them. But yeah, so I couldn't even have made that decision if I wanted to, because I got them in this condition, if you like.
Well, that's what you kind of deal with when you get it second hand, but then you
Yeah.
get it cheaper, and it's built, so you don't have to build it.
Yeah, I'm not
I
one.
love building.
I like converting.
Well, as you can tell,
Yeah.
converting is my favourite part of
Yeah.
the hobby.
I hate
And then I've got to paint what I've converted, and realised that what I've done now is, this is going to be a pain in the arse to paint the back.
Yeah.
Because there's a massive cloak over it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've got
like-
to paint the underside of that cloak.
I like converting. I've got into green stuff in quite a lot as well.
That's something I'd like to get better at, but I also don't want to waste the models on getting better at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I look back and there's very few that I think are poor when I look at them. Everything I've green stuff.
Alright, big man.
No, because what I did.
This guy with the ego over it.
No, because the way I did it was I just started really small.
Yeah.
And just a little bit, and just stretch yourself a little bit further and a little bit further. And I've got some stuff where I make like skirts and like rolled up fabric and stuff. And I look at it now and I'm like, it's not amazing. It's okay.
Yeah.
If you look at it on the tabletop, you wouldn't necessarily know that it wasn't part of the model.
Yeah.
But I look at it and see that it could be so much better now. But I think that was a process of doing like a little bit and a little bit, and so you don't. I think people in their heads start going, I need to be willing to like do this and then throw it all away.
Yeah.
But you actually don't. And you'll probably find very quickly that you start to see the more positive outcome you want.
What I found worked really well is you start with a faction that doesn't matter if it looks scruffy.
Yeah, it's like orcs.
So I started with
Skaven.
Lord of the Rings orcs for like
Yeah,
shields, slings, spears,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
all sorts of stuff like that. And it doesn't matter if it looks terrible because they're orcs.
It's all crude,
Makes
isn't it?
sense.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Like I said, I started like green stuffing shields with blue stuff molds. 'Cause they never give you enough shields.
No.
You never get enough shields for what you want. Or if you get a second-hand kit and you've got like one shield, you need about 20. Just green stuff it. Green stuff blue mold.
I also think
that's not bad idea, actually.
I also think like it's all about doing it in layers. I think the thing that everyone is guilty of when they start with green stuff is they go,
Just do the
right,
whole
I
thing
want
in
this
one.
and I'm just going to do it and I can't make the shape.
Yeah.
No, but get the basic shape of green stuff, let it dry, then build on top.
That's
Yeah,
what I did with
build on
this.
top.
I did the green stuff to
Yep.
attach the cloak to it, and then I green stuffed all the skin/scales on the back,
Yep.
and then
And-
I broke it. So I had to glue it all together again.
But you've got to do it in layers. You can't throw at it. I just can't. You can't throw
Early
at it all in one.
2000s, very good films are available.
But even like with this dwarf army, I've got like some green stuff where I've put like capes on. You put a cape on, let it all dry, and then put like some fur over the shoulders to make the cape meet the model properly. Just take your time.
Fur's a good one to try. If you fill
Yeah.
in gaps of fur,
And
because then you've got
Oh, Metallus, lovely.
then you know what it looks like, and you
Yeah.
can just sculpt it to match.
then I think it's just a case of being really patient. and just the thing that is the learning to use the tools. It's learning to be able to move the tool.
I say that
to
actually.
keep
I
it
say
smooth,
about
you know?
green stuffing. I bought a set of the tools you've got from
They're
Flame
awesome.
Painter.
They're really good tools. Those ones. I
They
like them a
are
lot.
actually helpful, and I used them to help me with like the gap filling on my Carmine Dragon.
Yep.
And like to sort of, remold any scales that a bit was missing or scales over gaps and stuff. And it doesn't look good, but actually because you can't really see it, and all it's doing is sort of trying to copy what's already there, it looks alright enough that now it's sprayed, actually you can't really notice what was green stuff.
I follow Darren Latham on Instagram. Excellent, incredible painter, incredible sculptor, and a long time ago when I worked at Games Workshop, had the privilege of meeting him. Lovely man. And he's always talking on there when he gives like advice. Yeah. He's like, take something that you've seen, put it next to you, and copy it.
Yeah.
Start by copying, and then work out
creating it sort of in your head.
So if we segue to a slightly different game for a minute, Middle Earth. You guys have seen like my Thorin on Go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was exactly that. I had loads of pictures of the Forge World Thorin, the one I wanted to copy.
Yeah.
And I just built it up over time. Yeah. Relaxed, worked out what to do that coat. How would I do it? I need like a base layer, and I need a layer for the quilting, and I need a layer for the straps. And you just do it over time and let every layer dry, and it does.
If you do
it, copying really helps because you're not trying to create your own shape from what's it. You can copy, and then that gives you a really good foundation to start from. Yeah. So that's a great piece of advice.
And if you do it in layers, it means if you mess up, you can just take a layer off, and it's fine.
Yeah, and you haven't lost all the stuff beyond it. You can always scrape it off whilst it's wet.
Oh, and don't buy it from Games Workshop because oh my god, it's expensive from Games Workshop.
What, the green stuff?
Yeah.
They don't sell it anymore.
They're not.
No.
Ooh. Well, then you definitely can't buy it from Games Workshop.
Don't buy it from Games Workshop. They don't sell it. But yeah, I mean, just building it up is. It's like anything, it's just a hobby skill, isn't it? You learn it. I'm okay at it. I wouldn't say I'm great at it, I'm okay at it, but it took me years to get okay at it. And I know guys that are so good at it as well, and it makes you very upset.
Yeah, like I
found it.
I started off sculpting for Middle Earth again, because the amount of metal models they've got with the gaps at a couple of millimeters.
Yep.
Sure, that happens in every game system.
We got there.
Metal shrinks, doesn't it? When you mould it, it's always been the same. So
that explains a lot.
yeah, when you heat up metal, it expands slightly, and then when it cools, it shrinks slightly, and that's why you get the gaps that are bad in metals, because obviously they expand and fill the mould, and then as they cool down out of the mould, they contract slightly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's always it's an always battle with metal in that way, but.
Actually, I'm not sure I do tennis.
We do love.
It's quite a bright blue, that one.
It is bright. I'm thinking I'm just going to go Magos over the sort of
fleshy
fleshy
bits of the wing. Oh,
yeah, I quite like.
Purple with the sort of
Magos is good. I haven't done much.
What did I use this on? My ogres. I've used it over the trousers of my ogres because they're purple now.
Interesting.
Well, if they're going to be mercenary, they might as well buy the richest colour they can find.
Yeah.
My vampire's got a lot of purple on.
Yeah, they're
colour of death as well, isn't it?
Ostermark. I always get the wrong
Ostermark.
Ostermark.
Yellow and purple.
Ostland's black and white, isn't it?
What I like about that on
Bull.
Undead is because you can make the yellow look so dirty. You've got a yellow army, but you haven't really done all the hard work
of having a yellow army.
Yeah, so I generally use the base yellow. I think it's Avalanche Sunset now, but when I started the army, it was a different colour. It was like and yellow or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I actually put flesh tone over it.
Oh, okay.
As the shade.
Give it sort of that dirty yellow.
It's like ready then. It's got like a kind of almost like a brickiness to it. Like there's possibly some suggestion of oxidizations covered it or whatever. It just really works for tarnishing off the finish of that sort of fabric.
Flesh stone on top of Retributor armour gives very nice bronze.
Yes.
That's what my army is.
Yeah, that is nice. That's what I do for my high elves. Although it wasn't when I started doing it. None of that was.
Or flesh
it was shining gold back in the day, and I used to.
Retributor was a game changer when it came out.
It was still flesh wash, which was ink,
right.
but I never used to use that because I didn't want it to shine.
Right.
So I used to take what was it called then? It's now called Doomball Brown, but it was called
Is it Scrag Brown?
No, Dark Flesh, I think it was called back then.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of really reddy brown.
I
used to thin that right down. to like a wash consistency and put that over. And now I just do it with flesh shade and
Don't
pure
bother.
armour.
Do it in
It's
one.
exactly the same. It saves loads of time.
Doombull Brown is such good paint. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good for leathers, for skin of Uruks.
Yeah.
Yeah, all mine are that. A bit of red in it for me berserkers.
Everyone's got Urukai, even if you don't play Middle Earth.
Urukai are
Everyone's
cool,
got a set of Urukai Mori
It's
goblins kicking about from those
Urukai
magazines.
are cool. Those are. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them.
Do you know what would be cool actually, think about magazines, when they do the old world, whenever it comes back, if they do like a Mortal Realms sort of style one.
It would be cool. I can't see him doing it. But
Not
it
for
would be
what
cool.
will be a specialist game.
Yeah,
That's the shame.
that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I just want new models. Even if the rules are terrible, 8th is never going anywhere.
Yeah, that's a lot of people have said that, I think, and it's a very fair point. You know, yes, you could not like the rules when they come back, but all it means is you get new models, and likelihood is you'll be able to use a lot, if not, you probably won't be able to use all of them, but you'll be able to use a lot of them in 8th, and you can just still play 8th if you really want to. And you
Yeah.
can play 8th alongside it.
I think it will be like lots of previous editions of Warhammer. Like we all played 7th. We all played. Well,
I didn't.
I played 7th. I played 6th.
I didn't.
Max played 7th.
He did a bit.
So, and you move on, and I personally I think 8's the best edition. I really like the fact that it's the one that truly feels like a mass battle game, which is why I played Warhammer over other games.
Yeah.
I mean, you showed me some of the stuff, filthy stuff you do in 7th edition Vampire Count, so yes, I agree.
Yeah, I love that book. You know, would I have liked? It's like anything. You can always find the criticisms.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think there's a lot
8th
of-
isn't a perfect game.
Oh, far from it. But
No.
it's a fun game.
It is. I would agree. It's certainly a very
No
enjoyable
matter
game.
what happens, there's always a cinematic story to be said.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether that's your wizard going down the hole, failing fear tests.
Normally, for me, it's my wizard going down the hole.
Yeah.
Normally, for you, it's failing leadership tests,
Yeah.
as I'm sure we will find out in 2 weeks' time.
Don't spoil anything. I failed a few. You know, I was playing on debts that James failed. None.
No, I
Because you
didn't.
don't take any.
I didn't test a march. No. Did not fist with freeform in the game. No, I mean to be honest, I think that's
Quite like that combination, actually.
that. Yeah,
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
that really speaks to me as well in terms of there's always something, even when a game goes really badly, there's always something you can kind of take away and go, yeah. That was cool, or that
Yeah.
was fun, or that was interesting, and
Something to learn.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. There is always something you can go, actually, I could have done this better, or I should have done this.
I mean, the biggest thing I learned at Derby was from Joby. Hope I pronounced his name right.
Yeah.
He threw his there in Reavers right in front of my 2 bolt throwers. Flesh to stone. Toughness 7.
Oh,
I was
spicy.
like, either shoot toughness 7,
Yeah.
or I get the -2 to hit by shooting through them into the white lines.
Genius.
It was an amazing move.
good play.
That's really good play. I've genuinely never thought of that.
It was
That's
amazing.
A really good idea.
Yeah.
It's class.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have put
That's
a
top
camera.
tier, Joby. Well played.
Do that with vampires a lot though. Like
Yeah.
stick the ethereal thing in front of a unit. You can have -2 to hit, or you can shoot the thing you can't hurt. Your choice.
Or you do what I do, and you stick Manfred next to a unit of Hex Wraiths, and they shoot Manfred, or even better, behind, so they get the cover. They have to shoot Manfred because they can't hurt the Hex Wraiths, and then you look outside it, onto the Hex Wraiths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't work if you're facing Wood Elsa.
No, because they just kill the Hex Wraiths.
Yeah.
And then kill Manfred.
Also dies.
Yeah. It's that great dragon goes into him and goes, "Hi, you look tasty."
You know,
I mean,
when
to
you're
be honest, they
looking at
just shoot it.
something and thinking, I don't really know what colour you were, and I'm now trying to work you out. and
Yeah,
I'm
that's
struggling.
why I tried to keep a list of what I was trying to do,
Just
Yeah.
do
and then
way
forgot to
too-
update it, and then was like, "This is out of date."
I just do way too many armies for that to work for me.
I do that a lot. I create the list, and then I leave painting them for ages. I go through the notes on my phone and think, oh, I'm not going to paint them again, or I'll change this about it when I do it again. Delete the list, come back to it and go, what paint did I use?
Yeah. Been
Yeah.
there.
Or I'm like, oh, I've done like all of that army now, all of that colour, so I can get rid of that list and then go, oh, actually, I want to copy the red from my, I don't know, Bretonians on this thing. How did I paint the red on the Bretonians? Oh, I've deleted it.
I've
Fantastic.
deleted that. Yeah. That's hang on.
Absolute classic.
Oh,
So then I have to sit there with the model and go, is that, I think that's that colour?
Close,
Is
close
it that
enough.
one?
Close enough.
yeah, we've all been there. Is that one?
It's why I very rarely play armies that are very uniform, because when I make mistakes in painting, it's just a feature.
Yeah.
It's just a feature, gents. That's all
That's
it
a
is.
great bit of advice.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't play High Elves because they're also uniform. Play Dark Elves pirates.
Yeah.
And then it's fine because they're all individual pirates.
There's some pearls of wisdom coming out that none of you were expecting, but you're all getting.
Yeah, I will say, if you want interesting Dark Elf kits, though, use Shadow Warrior parts.
Yeah.
Got a few of those kicking about.
They still sell them as well, don't
Yeah,
they?
exactly. It's one of the
They
few
do,
High
yeah.
Elves they still sell. Shadow Warriors and Phoenix Guard. What
Yeah.
a combination.
And the sisters. Get the sisters in the Shadow Warriors kit.
Oh, yeah, good
Yes, yeah.
Sisters
I've got
of,
so many parts of those because they're all really weird, like torso and 1.5 arms. It's like,
They are really good Weight Watchers.
Oh, yeah.
I think they make really nice Weight Watchers. Paint them the bows green. You've got sort of magical looking bows. Or Deepwood Scouts, I suppose, if you want to use them as that, because they probably do have magical shots. But I used to use them as Weight Watchers.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a load for Way Watchers. I've got a few.
Yes, because you've got them off me.
That's exactly what I would have done as well.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
And I actually got the Forge World used to do it. I'm pretty sure they haven't done it for a long time now, but they used to do the brass etched leaves.
Oh, that stuff has been
They
around
used to come in
years.
one of the basing kits.
Oh, was it that? Was it not Forge World? One of them. But yeah, I actually got them and glued them onto the cloaks, so they were sort of like leafy cloaks as well. So they look more like the Glade Guard cloaks.
Anyone got black? Because
Yeah.
I was thinking,
right.
like, you know, Dark Elves, they're kind of black haired
Yeah.
on everything. You look at all the artwork, all the.
Apart from the sort of Witch Elf and Doomfires,
But are they
which are pink.
dyed or is that? Natural?
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Because they are black haired on. They're actually black haired on the box art ones, but they did alternative ones from the hobby team that had pink hair.
Oh, they're actually black haired on the box art, the Witch Elves.
I think they are.
Doomfires aren't.
Yeah, but
Sure, they're not.
Doomfires are like cursed men.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are cursed. Yeah, that is fair. Ow.
Are you trying to find a box of them?
Yeah. Give me a sec. Give me a sec, guys.
He's getting his phone out here in no phone times. You try and buy another Manfred.
Nice.
Hilarious.
I'm starting to see a pattern. No, you're right. They are white haired.
Forget Chaos Dwarves.
But
New
I'm
Manfred.
sure they've done. Maybe it's like the War Cry or something like that. They had them in a. Well, no, it's not War Cry, is it? What's the
Underworld?
Underworlds.
Some of those models are beautiful as well.
Yeah, they are. They are very nice.
Yeah, like my K9 Assassin is one of those guys.
I've maybe just invented that they had black hair.
I think you have invented that. They
I've
have
seen them
black
painted like that, and I'm looking at some pictures of people that have painted them that are not Games Workshop like that now. And they're really nice.
hair. Did you just Google Witch Elves black hair?
I just googled Warcry Witch Elves, and not Warcry.
Underworld
Witch Elves, yeah.
I think it is Warcry as well. Warcry is another of their games.
Yeah,
They don't
it
have
is.
Witch Elves.
Oh, do they not?
No. I found that out on the first search.
Of Warcry Witch Elves, and nothing came up.
That is correct, yeah.
So you say you started originally with Skaven, Alex?
Yes.
How long ago was that?
17 years ago, I think.
Wow.
Well, technically, my first army was High Elves, which was the Mage with the Globe and 3 Shadow Warriors.
Okay.
Uh,
Big High Elf collection you had then.
and the book. The book was so fun to read. Just the stupidity of all the politics of High Elves.
Was that the 6th Ed one that had Intrigue at Court
Yes.
and all that stuff?
Yeah, it was glorious to read.
Yeah, so that was on with Teclis on the cover,
Yes.
where he's like bulked Teclis.
Yeah, and
Pocked Techless.
yeah, it was. And then I got a bit of Empire because I like the idea of
Okay.
underdogs. A
Yeah.
bit of Warriors of Chaos because who doesn't?
Because you wanted to win.
Yeah.
I really again, I was a poor child, and they were cheap for a big army.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
So I was the idiot that run like 12 Warriors of Chaos Chosen with additional hand weapons.
Oh, I don't
I
think
still have
that
those.
was very good back then.
I still have those with the. This was an 8th still.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that was less good then.
Yeah. I still had.
I thought it was 17 years ago still, sorry.
I never played one that long ago. I was too young for that. And then what was it? Oh yeah, I gave them the Metal Chaos Knightheads. Remember that upgrade pack?
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
look lovely for Chosen.
I'd like.
And then when Age of Sigmar came out, most of it got sold.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I quite enjoyed my Empire. I had about 40 handgunners
Nice.
and about 25 of the metal greatswords.
Ooh,
Kept
very
about-
nice.
They
about
were nice
3.
models, the
Yeah.
metal ones.
I kept enough to run a D&D campaign and then never ran
Right.
the D&D campaign.
Classic.
Yeah, because by the time I finished or painting it all, when I finished uni, which kind of showed you how long it was.
It
I
took
kept
to
them
paint
around.
them all, yeah.
Yeah, fair.
And some of them still weren't painted.
I'm not going to comment on things
Yeah.
that could be painted that aren't.
But yeah, and
No, you're not.
But
Cast off.
this has been my first proper, I would say, adult painted army.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have enjoyed them. Even if people say Dark Elves are overpowered. Depends how you play them.
I
And I
think
will
they're
say
good.
that I finished top in Derby for Dark Elves and not a single Witch Elf in my army.
Yeah, I think
Which is
so.
very impressive.
Which shows they're overpowered.
Yeah, if you goes to a tournament and becomes seventh, yeah, I'll take that.
I think they are good Dark Elves. I think they've got all the obvious weaknesses of being an elf, and they are the least. Well, them and Wood Elves are both quite poorly armoured. The Dark Elves are not great in terms of the vast majority of their armour saves, other than ridiculousness.
What does help is the book is very good. There is
Yeah.
not a single. Well, there's one or two. There's not many bad units in the entire book. So you can, you can throw anything
two
together.
of the core choices are just pointless to take: Bleak Swords and Dread Spears. I don't know why you'd ever take any.
I actually forgot they existed.
Yeah, see. That's how bad they are.
So the units that actually exist are good.
I just don't see why you'd ever take either of them over a Dark Shard.
There's this 25-point magic item called Sacrificial Dagger,
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, maybe.
so you shank your own men and get
Yeah.
power dice.
You want them to be. I think the thing is, you want them to be cheap. If you want something to be cheap, you could look at a bus.
What would be good is if you get level 4 Shadow and get Occams.
On the Spearmen, I've seen that done many
Yeah.
times. To be fair,
I still don't see
So-
the point of the Bleak Swords.
No.
If you want Bleak Swords, take Dark Shards. They're
Yeah.
Bleak Swords and crossbows.
Yeah.
I think the fact that Dark Shards can take shields is the issue, really.
Yeah, but
Rather than the Bleak Sword as such, if you know what I mean.
Maybe.
also the kit is, look, in my opinion, I don't like the look of the kit, which is why my Dark Shards are not from Dark Shard kit.
Are they not?
No, they're a mix of Corsairs, Shadow Warriors, and
okay.
the crew from the Hydra.
I did notice that, actually.
Oh,
And the unit filler is the Scourger in a Chariot, which is also a unit I forgot existed. Chassis
Yeah, I mean,
on a rock.
there are some poor units in there, but you don't have to take them. So
Yeah.
there's enough really
There's
good units.
Morathia, Witch Elves, and Executioners. So.
But like I said, there's no G-strings in my army.
I think that the thing for me with so many of the armies is that what really separates the better books in a way is the number of good units.
yeah.
Even the poorer books have good units. Gyrocopters are ace.
Yeah.
You can't knock them. They're brilliant for 80 points.
Yeah.
They are really competitive. If you drop them into a Vampire Count's army, you'd see 6 in every army. You know what I mean? Like you would.
Yeah.
But it's the number of really great units, and with
Imagine
the
if Tomb
dwarves,
King's got those.
yeah, exactly, yeah. With the Tomb King's another great example. Like,
The Battle
you know.
Cats, really good.
yeah,
Snakes, solid.
I actually think the Battle Cat's quite balanced.
They are
Um,
very expensive.
Because
for what you
they
get.
are pricey, and if you've got the counter, if you've got the poison and stuff, or you've got the artillery, they are really poor.
What, a 5 armor?
Fire
Yeah.
Palmer, that's it.
Yeah. So sheer weight of dice.
Yeah, but like the Horror Titan's really sick for his points. The
Oh,
Casket's really sick for his points.
Screaming Skull's very good.
Screaming
for
Skull's good as well. So,
Thank God for
but
Trebuchet.
it's the number of them. It's the number
That's
of the
really
quality
good.
of units. They don't have that in core. They don't have bucket loads of really great special
That's
units.
the thing. I think if you're lacking a really good core unit, you're always going to be lacking against those books that have a really good core unit.
Or that have 3 or 4 really good core units.
Or that have 3 or 4 really good core units.
Like warriors, like demons, like... or they probably don't have 3 or 4.
They only have 4.
Demons have
4.
2 good core units? Yeah, they're 4 core units.
Are we talking
2 good?
Demonettes and...
I think
Plague
demons
Bearers.
are alright.
Yeah, Plague Bearers are definitely the best.
Well, Demonettes are quick.
Yeah.
You can just get unit 10.
Armor
pin in a
piercing,
flank.
they're good for clearing out big blocks of rubbish stuff.
You can also use them as chaff.
10 or 12 of them are good for chaff and for clearing chaff.
Yeah.
Pink Horrors are good in the right list, obviously, but generally they're not great as a unit. They're good for giving you power dice and spell dice. But
That's why
but
you
yeah,
comp them so badly, isn't it?
but then Dark Elves again.
It's the spamming.
3 very, very good core
I'm going to
units.
say on camera, Witch Elves should be special.
Yeah, but
They were in the previous book.
Yeah.
You had to take Crone Hellebron to make them cool.
Or Poison's an upgrade. Can you imagine if you had to take Crone Hellebron to make them poison?
Oh, I just think they should be just more expensive.
More
I don't mind
expensive.
them being core. I
Yeah.
just think they're ridiculously pointed.
What,
out.
12,
Yeah.
13 instead?
Probably 12. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like
10?
again, it's so difficult
12.
because it's
Sorry,
the cold.
11.
Without the
Same
cauldron,
price
they
as
are
Corsair.
so much less good.
They are a lot less good with a cauldron. Without a cauldron, yeah.
You know,
that is very
that
true.
is, and that's such a difficult thing sometimes, is getting the balance right.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they're probably not undercosted at 11 points without a cauldron.
Yeah, it's the reroll everything in 5
Yeah.
done. Ward.
Yeah.
So then is the argument actually the cauldron should be more expensive?
Cauldron.
But it is already expensive. It's
275.
Yeah, it's a lot of points.
Well, it's 100 and,
It's 190 upgrade
90,
on
yeah.
top of an 85 point
Yeah.
character.
yeah.
So it's already a chunk of points, and that character, as we've said, is very easy to kill.
Yeah, but
If
you've
you
got,
attack up.
you've got to get the cauldron off,
Yeah.
haven't you, to stop the...
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
The
said, the
effect.
death tank doesn't matter.
No, and the cauldron comes with 2 witch elves on it,
Yeah,
so you get those attacks as well.
Yeah,
Mine
so
comes with
actually,
the Krubus sticking out.
Yeah,
20
it
points
does.
is 20 points is that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
20 points of it is the 2 witches that you can't actually get rid of until you've got rid of the whole
killed the
thing.
toughness 6, 5 wound, or toughness 5, 6
5,
wound,
It's toughness 6, 6
4 up
wins.
ward.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it?
I think it's a 6-6.
I think
That might be strength
it's
5.
a strength 5.
It's
yeah.
strength 5, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you had 5 in it.
One of them is weaker. Yeah.
but not weak enough.
Is everything a 666? Oh, dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a bit that is. Yeah, dragons being the obvious option.
I would still like to see more characters giving upgrades. That makes
Okay,
sense.
so like as into the units they're in, or
No, it's like so you can buy this character and then you can spend X amount of points.
okay,
to
so like
upgrade
Queek with his storm vermin.
it. Or like Joseph
Yeah.
Bugman with his rangers.
Yeah.
Or Grimgor with his Daz Immortals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I just want them to be good upgrades.
Yeah. Queeks is.
The Bugman rangers are alright.
Too many points, I think. It's the
That's just dwarves though.
it's the crossbows not being able to move and shoot, which is massive for a scouting.
I don't know if
Yeah.
they're too many points or they're just adequately priced.
Well, I think this is always where it comes back to: is it that stuff is too cheap or that stuff is too expensive? Because we talk about, like we've always said, lizardmen and dwarves, they probably are the right points, but they just
Everything
exist-
around them
They just
is so
exist in a
cheap.
game system where stuff is just not the right. Sorry, I'm keep covering my mouth, so I don't want to mess up the sound. They just exist in a game system where so much stuff is not the right points.
It's almost like Games Workshop just wanted to sell models.
Oh my.
Yeah,
So weird.
I think the other thing is that I don't believe that there was ever testing for the extremes back then. Like in terms of like the play testing, I wonder how many people actually took a massive unit of witches
With a cauldron. Yeah.
in play testing. Do you know what I mean? How
Yeah.
many did it, or how many took 20 in a cauldron?
Yeah.
How many didn't hold them?
Well,
How many, you know?
The Horde
Yeah.
rules were new, so that was a whole big
Although
kettle of fish.
Dark Elves were very much one of the last books that came out, so
Yeah.
you know there should have been plenty of. But I do wonder how much of like gaming etiquette was involved in those decisions in terms of, well, you know, we're on a playtesting team, we show good etiquette, we're respectful to each other, we treat each other decently, we don't do that sort of thing here.
Yeah, and
You know?
and just the type of people, like the type of gamer on that playtesting.
Yeah, I
team.
mean, I don't
Are
know.
they hardcore competitive gamers who?
Are they win at all costs?
Yeah, or are they actually we don't want to do this because it's not thematic.
Yeah, it's
or,
not fun.
Or we won't enjoy it, so we won't do this. Which is a perfectly fine way to play. But I think if you're playtesting, you have to have at least some part of that team who is just a person
He's here
who's
to
like,
spoil it for the rest of us.
yeah, I'm
There's
going to
always
do.
one, is it you?
no, it's you.
It's you, James.
It's just gonna. I've just splattered Talos blue all over my arm.
Oh,
Fantastic.
I've heard of Paint the Town Red.
Yeah, paint the arm blue.
I
Apparently.
think I've splashed this with a couple of dots of colour on
that's upsetting.
on the helicopter blades, and I'm pretty sure they've been painted and shaded back. So there's just no way
There's
they can
no
fix
hope.
it. No, just let it go. They're just gonna have to have some marks.
Not sure.
Battle
about
damage.
blue, but maybe.
Battle damage.
It's not terrible. It's just a couple of spots. But it's annoying more than anything else. Right,
Well, I'm quite looking forward to a narrative event coming up. When are you still going to be doing like army lists? If that makes sense.
So
Sort
we're
of campaign list.
this
Yeah.
one's going to be a campaign list. So
Yeah,
rather than new
I'm quite
special
looking forward to
characters
that.
like we've done for the last few, we're going to have like a campaign list style instead.
Can you please let Corsairs and Black Derby in the same list, please? Thank you very much. End of my TED talk. So I'm going to make a unit 20, 25 of them. Kind of want to use them. Not that I'm,
Well, I mean, again,
Yeah.
directly relationary to how mean you are to me today is possibly
You brought that upon yourself.
you've done that to yourself.
I have no sympathy. You
So-
should have been quicker on the phone to get Manfred.
Just not over it. It's really not over it.
It's alright, everything on the line and you'll get one for about 15 quid.
I definitely won't. But if anyone has got a Manfred on a horse for sale that they'd like to contact me about, preferably metal, but I will take a fine cast one as well. Please feel free, drop us an email if you're looking to get rid of one. Actually, that is something that would be nice. Yeah, drop us an email.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything you're looking for, Scott?
No, I don't think so. Actually, not in particular.
It's a good thing Max isn't here.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Max would just want everything.
Let me just have a little think, see if there's anything else I can add to that list. Things people are looking to.
Any
move
other
on.
special characters you're after?
Yeah, I mean, I say that. I say no. Like, if you've got something for one of the armies that you know we do, which is all of them.
Which is all of them, yeah. Any special characters? If you're selling a special character,
characters.
yeah, always contact us because we probably haven't got all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, they are lovely models, a lot of special characters.
Yeah, they are. I do have all of the ogre ones though as well.
That's nice.
Apart from Goldfag, I don't have Goldfag Mania.
Well, you can still get him.
Yeah,
You pay
you can.
£47 for him. And
For him and two
two Manias, right?
I think it's him, Bragg, and a Mania because they've now got Bragg as Mania.
Well, they've had them all as Mania for a while, haven't
Yeah.
they, for some reason.
I mean, they do eat men. I mean, I can legitimately see that.
Yeah, I suppose.
They make
Yeah.
you work hard.
And play hard.
I'm just. This is where I'm at now in terms of just. Let's have a little look and see what we can move on from.
You guys not trying the painting handles? I find them quite useful.
No, I've got one.
You might need the bigger version for
Yeah.
for a 40mm.
My partner's mum bought me one for Christmas, but I'll be honest, I've not used it.
I got
yeah.
4 kicking about. It's good for the 20-25mm models because
I've got one downstairs, but stuff like this is just all like because I've got it on the stick. It's just kind of easier to crack on. I'm gonna have to do some blending.
That is another thing that contrast is good for. Wet blending.
Yeah, I just want to go home and rethink my life really. Right.
Has the Manfred affected you that much?
Yeah, very badly today. I took it very badly. Obviously, I don't want to remortgage my house to buy one. If you are thinking of getting in touch.
Yeah, I can't think of anything actually that I'm particularly looking for.
Although you did say to me off
character-wise.
camera a few minutes ago, Scott, you're happy to sell me your one.
Yeah, I've got a resin one, fine cast one.
Okay, well we'll talk turkey after this video.
Yeah.
Try and give it a week and
I'm
see
never
if you
gonna
get
paint
any.
it, so.
Well, a week after this video's been sent out, to see if you get any contact from avid listeners that would love to have their model on the channel.
Well, just get involved in getting in touch with us anyway, guys. We always like
Yeah.
to hear from you.
Yeah, and if I've already sold mine to James, I'll buy it. I'm not against having one. It's just I'm never going to paint him, so James may as well paint him.
And then you can buy it back off him.
Yeah. He's trying to do that with the Bretonians. It's not going to happen.
I will admit they are lovely people in real life, as much as they do insult both of them to their faces.
Oh, I see outside afterwards. All right, that's 20 pictures.
Never see me again. Check the back garden.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Max.
I try and be nice.
That tenner was worth it.
It sounds like we're splitting it. Well,
Give me a Mars bar for that one, not a tenner.
oh, guys at home, you see the face of a broken man over here. We did actually have a list we were talking about, and we just sort of this is really the real power of Loose Warhammer. It just sort of
It's quite
switches.
fun though. If it wasn't like an hour and a half to get here, I could do it more often.
Yeah, overall, I think the list is interesting. I think it will probably still win games because it's Dark Elves and they're a good army book. And you've got some of the power. You've got the power units in the list.
Yeah.
That said, it's a long way from optimised, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, I don't think any of us would change any of the units. Just the magic items.
I'd
potentially
change our
awesome.
Dreadlord a lot, but I'm probably not taking him.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do like him though. He is good.
When you see a character on a dragon, though, you know they want a character on a dragon.
Yeah, I do love me a dragon, but I just think with Dark Elves they can do a wizard on a black dragon.
If you really want to,
So
though,
do
you can
it.
put the Dreadlord on foot and just take a black dragon from Monstrous Arcanum.
If you use an alpac, you
If you
absolutely
use an
can.
alpac, you can.
Yeah.
I really like ridden monsters. It's no secret that I like a dragon. It's no secret that I find that they're the coolest thing in Warhammer to me. But if you're talking about really competitive, full-on competitive list, you are making a big concession with that dragon and not having lots of other
It's
monsters
the opportunity cost,
to
isn't
create
it?
lots of threats alongside him.
And not having that level 4 wizard.
Yeah, no level 4 because
Yeah.
there's too many points.
The no level 4 is huge. It's always going to be huge because Magic is so powerful, and I know there's a lot of people that get really upset about the fact that it's so powerful in 8th. I totally get that argument, and
It is
this,
fun
this
though.
paint is not good.
The magic is just fun.
I really like it, and I think it's an obvious counter for the Death Stars that the rules sometimes.
I think this is the thing for me as well.
I would maybe potentially downgrade the power of like the top 3 unit killers, like the Pit of Shades, the Dwellers, and the Golden Statues.
The only one I would change personally is Purple Sun.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because it can hit like 6
Multiple
units,
units.
10 units.
Right, so you want to target one unit.
I don't mind if you want to, like, if you...
But Purple Sun has the option of killing itself.
Yeah, but I just don't think it
on an
happens.
elf, it just never is going to
Yeah,
happen.
I think...
It'll happen to me, and has happened to me, on the channel.
But I mean, like, if I'm being
It very rarely happens.
brutally honest about it, I just think with the others, like, you chose to build a Death Star. I've no sympathy. I know people get really upset about this, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to be straight up about this. I just don't have sympathy. You chose to build a star.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, but my Lariel with my big unit of 40 white lions, my BSB, and my level 2
You talk
wizard.
about Death Stars,
and
and
I'm
then you
like,
go
you
to the
deserve
worst
it.
Death Star in the entire game.
But you know what? That's because it is. But it's the same. I've seen like 40. I remember years ago playing 40 Warriors of Chaos.
Oof.
In a unit.
Damn.
With a Chaos Lord in the front rank, and a Sorcerer. Lord. No, a Sorcerer Lord and an Exalted Hero, and Festus.
Oh. Do they have another arm? Do they have actually anything else in the arm?
2 units and
And
3
dogs.
Skull Crushers.
Oh.
2 units and 3 Skull Crushers, and I want to say like a couple of Chimeras, and that was it. It was like five unit.
You know what? Do whatever you want to that
It was
list.
absolutely sick. And it was like it was like game 4 of an event. It was quite a high table. I'm not gonna pick a number, but put it this way, it was for a top 5 finish on that. You know, really, it was looking at, well, could I get in? From here, I'm looking at, if I win this game, I'm looking now to finish top 5 probably.
Yeah.
If I don't, I'm probably going to finish a little bit lower, obviously. But and yeah, I do not feel at all bad about nuking that unit.
I suppose it depends what you're facing.
I didn't
doesn't it?
feel bad at all when my Shadow Wizard loaded his strength by D3 and I dodged blowed it. I did not feel bad one jot. He let me have the Shadow Wizard one because he wanted to save his dice for dwellers, and I total powered it. And I didn't feel bad. And I didn't because that unit had the Chrono Command in it.
Obviously.
Right.
Obviously, yeah.
Was Banner of Standard Discipline for that Leadership 10?
Yeah, it was
Obviously.
uncommon, the event.
Oh, so obviously.
Standard Discipline,
Yeah.
Chrono Command,
Yeah.
and a really, really hard unit with regen and
Yeah.
poison.
Yeah.
And strength 5 on all the attacks.
Halberds, of course.
Yeah, his level 4 was on law of, I want to say death.
It's going to be Death or Nurgle.
Yeah, and I think it was death because he had Nurgle and Festus.
Yeah.
The list was amazing, and everyone that he couldn't just square off, he purple
Just
sundered.
purple sunned.
I think in that case, though, you did 2 spells, which is... It's fine, you did 2 spells, you had 2 chances to stop it.
And I just think, and even if it wasn't, even if it was just 1, I still wouldn't feel bad about it because you chose to take that. You will see, you guys that have played me at events, I mean, we're pretty visible figures. We don't hide anything. We talk a lot on the channel about list building and competitive. You watch us play games of Warhammer. I don't really do stars,
Yeah.
No.
and I don't do them because I don't want to get Dwellers Below.
Or Final Trans.
That's
or...
fair.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
So that's okay. That's why I don't do it. It's just part of the tactics of the game. If you chose a star, you have to accept that there is a counter, and the counter is you might go down and on. But that,
Or get turned to gold.
I don't get upset if I take a big star unit like that and someone dwellers me. I don't get all
like,
mad
fair
about
play.
the game mechanic.
Fair play.
I'll say to them, yeah. I mean, I played Rob at North Remembers, and he killed my steam tank with Pit of Shades. I didn't feel bad about it. I took a steam tank. Every other game, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Every other game, it was absolutely amazing for me. It charged in my first game. The guy had Malekith in a unit of Cold One Knights. It rolled 15 or 16 for the steam points, which was half an inch long enough to hit them. Minced them.
Obviously.
And minced them. And Malekith wouldn't run, which meant in the end I ground him to death. It's beautiful.
That's good, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't sit there and go. When he killed it with the thing, I was like, well, there we are. You know what I mean? Because like, well, yeah,
it's gonna happen.
That's
sometimes.
what you should, because that's how's he gonna kill it otherwise? And this is the thing.
Everything in the game needs a counter.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, my star's just been killed by that spell. I'm like, what were they going to kill it with otherwise? You know, I could come in the flank with the best counter in the game. I could roll you up, I could debuff, I could do this, smash you up, crown of command, mate.
I'm stubborn leadership 10.
I'm stubborn leadership 10 very well, or leadership 9 as he would have been for real.
I always feel bad taking the crown of command.
You know, like
I don't know, I play ogres.
I've always said, for me, the crown is a really, really, really good item.
Yeah.
And I think that I would leave it in because I get that people really like it. If I was writing a new set of rules, if I was, I would say crown of command must be announced at the start of the game. Okay. That's it. That's all I do.
So you know the unit's stubborn before
You
you go
put down a unit of Blackguard. I know they're stubborn.
Yeah.
I can say to you, I've never played Blackguard before. Can you show me their rules, please?
Oh, they're stubborn.
Yeah? Oh, they're stubborn.
White
Excellent.
lines.
White lines. They're stubborn. I know they're
guard.
stubborn. I build my tactics around the fact that I know they're stubborn and that's going to be tough for me. I just want the same.
Yeah, I think you could argue that you could assume, a lot of people could assume that certain units will have the crown of command, but that only really works if you're a sort of more seasoned player who has played more competitive games reasonably regularly. And you look at it and you go, that's probably got crown of command.
Well, when I was playing at Derby on the final game, my opponent was like, I don't know if you've got crown of command. I don't know when to charge you. I was thinking, I wouldn't even consider any of these units so far that I've played. They might have the crown of command. Didn't even cross my mind.
And this is it. And I remember being a real novice and having a very similar thing, engineering a fantastic move.
Back in 1994.
And being like, thanks. Being like, thinking to myself, this is probably the best I've ever played a game of Warhammer. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, they're stubborn.
And then doing a really big charge, and it was a proper Loremaster classic. I like, you know, it's become a staple of what I try to do. It was down a hill in the flank. Like I had a combat lord in there. It was a beautiful move. And he was like in a wood, so I was like, he's steadfast, he's disrupted. So my cavalry come down the side, smash him in combat, win by 10, and he's like crown of command.
Yeah, I would like to see a few more items being like Lord or Heroes only.
Or that, but again, for a lot of armies, the armies that really take crown of command, it's very rare that it's not on a lord.
Yeah.
I would just
it's only chaos.
If it was 60 points,
you're going to see it.
If it was 60 points, people would say it's too expensive. Probably still wouldn't be, but people would say it would be.
Yeah.
But
I think it's going to be really good at 60 points. Because 60 points to save 500 at least.
Yeah. But I just think, for me, the fix is really simple. Just say at the start of the game, you have to announce you've got the crown of command.
Yeah.
No great gripe from me. I don't mind if you've got it. I'd just like to have the same elements extended to me as were extended to you. If I've put white lines on the table, you know they're stubborn. And I will tell you, if you say what are they like, if you never played them, I'll say they're strength 6, they're strike at initiative, they're strength 4, strike at initiative ordered with great weapons, so they're strength 6. They get a 3-up arm save against shooting.
5-up in combat.
They've got a 5-up in combat. They're toughness 3, weapon skill 5, but they are stubborn.
Yeah.
I'll say that to you.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the rules to tell people, but I would tell you anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, because like, who wants to say? Well, I won because he didn't know because he didn't know.
He didn't know.
He didn't know the white lines are stubborn. I don't like the.
Ha, got you.
I mean, I don't mind them. I don't mind little sort of the Power Stone and things like that. I quite like those. I think they're a bit of fun. And they're not.
Fun.
They're very rarely. I suppose sometimes they are winning you the game, but I think they're nice little moments. But with Crown, I think it's a particularly offensive gotcha. But you know, that's just me.
Or to be honest, or even if you change Crown, maybe keep its points, maybe drop its points. But say you are stubborn, however, you are stubborn at leadership -2, or something like so. You know.
What about you can never flee?
Well, yeah, stubborn and immune psychology.
Yeah,
could be a way around it. But
then how often are you going to flee the Death Star?
Well, you're not. Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, like I say, for me, it's just I'd just say announce it. I could see it being an item that went though.
Yeah,
potentially.
It has been a divisive item, so I could see it going.
Which I think is a shame.
Again, perhaps the slot is another question over that item as well.
We'll put it on Talisman.
Well, it's because it's in the. I mean, it's right that it's in the enchanted item slot. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But it's a really not great slot. you know, most.
You're taking a potion, or you're taking other tricksters, or you're taking Crown of Command.
Unless you've got a specific army
Unless
book.
you've got a
Unless
specific
you've got,
army
like,
book.
yeah,
But even
yeah.
then, I can't think of too many specific army book items that sit in that slot that you.
No, it's not.
that you
Paladin
really
arrow?
look at. Yeah, randomly, that's not a magic weapon. Probably
Just so you
should
can have
be.
it with Burl Ren.
Yeah, which is
That's why.
yeah, which I don't think actually.
It doesn't
properly.
work, no, but you can shoot Burl Ren every turn, and then one turn you Paladin.
Yeah, but I don't think you can use it because it's a magic. You can't put it on a magic weapon and then.
No, but it doesn't fire the Azrael
Oh, it doesn't
longbow.
fire the Azrael
It's
longbow.
just a.
I thought it
3d6
says a
straight
model
shots.
equipped with an Azrael longbow.
No, it says
doesn't.
instead of firing.
Well, even if
okay,
you buy a bow, it doesn't replace your old bow, does it?
No, but magic weapons have to be used.
Ah.
But I mean, this is what I mean. Like, I'm not sort of. I'm not really bleeding because I think, like you say, when you become like a real seasoned player, you look and think that
That's
they'll
gonna
be
be stubborn.
Crown of Command. They'll be Crown of Command.
And then even if it happens that you don't, you're like, oh, happy accident, you know, nice little surprise.
Yeah.
But you've played around the fact that you think it's stubborn.
Yeah, which you know can be powerful. There was a period where I stopped taking Brand of the World Dragon
Just made people like had people
for about
assume.
8 months, and I just stopped taking it, and no one just.
People do that with the Disc Lord a lot.
Yeah, and no one would target it, and I'd be like, sweet. And then they'd charge me saying, and be like, he's got a magic sword, so you top board, and I'd be like, no, but it's turn 6 now, so I don't care. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? I think that, you know, like we were saying, there are issues, but in general, I think 8th is a proper mass battle game, and I think for all of the criticisms that people try to lay at it, the answer I always have is that, well, do you want a mass battle or not?
Or
Because
do you want a skirmish game?
I'm not going to take
basically?
big units if I can't be steadfast.
Yeah.
You need a way to keep big units around because it makes sense. Like if you've got a huge unit, you lose a third of it. The rest of them are going to be like, well, we're either going to be too scared to run, or we want to be determined to avenge.
I
our
also
fallen.
think no step up is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it. I always felt that was a problem with the game. It always made the game feel really weirdly static, and I do think it helps when.
I really like the random charge distance. That adds a
I
completely
like
different
that
layer.
as well. I also think it makes certain armies much more interesting.
I
Like
definitely think
dwarves.
they'll keep random charge distance
Do they have it in
because
40k still?
I have absolutely no idea.
Not a clue, but I'd say yes.
Yeah.
You can look at it. Look at AOS. Look at 40k. You know, other lesser systems than the one we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Whatever rules they kind of have around then, you can kind of guess what might.
But I just think those systems have become so simple, and I don't believe that the old world will be. If I'm honest.
depends. Well,
I don't believe it will be a radical simplification of the rules.
They've got Horus Heresy,
No.
which is still quite complex.
Horus Heresy is the benchmark
Yeah.
I would work
And it is-
from.
they're
And
the same
it
team,
is
isn't it?
random. Yeah, and it is random charging. in
But the
that as
reason
well,
I
believe.
think they'll keep random charge is the same reason they got rid of guess range, is because it favoured the older player over the new player.
Yeah.
Because people
if
who
you
played
played
for years
Joiner.
and years,
If you played a joiner,
people who play for years and you go, yeah, that's about 15 inches,
Yeah.
or that's about
Well,
24 inches.
we do it on the channel, don't
Yeah.
we? We look at the gaps and go, I reckon I'm about
14?
Yeah. Oh,
13
and a half. Oh, I threw myself. But it is because we've done it for so long.
Yeah, but if
But
if
new
you
players
start
don't
playing
get that
game,
luxury.
you're like, oh, I've got no idea. Like,
New players don't get that
Yeah.
luxury. I agree.
which is why I think they'll keep random charge systems.
I also think that it just made the game. It makes the game a bit faster, a bit more exciting. There's a bit more risk.
Yeah.
you can't just sit and wait for them to get within your charge range.
The
and slam
game-
in
Yeah.
pieces.
Was very static, and as a long-term fan, I'll say that with absolute honesty. It was an exceptionally static game. In terms of, well, I know that I am going to be 8 1/4 inches away. I know that I am 8 1/2 away.
Yeah.
So I know you can't charge me, so I'm going to stay here. Like, so static, so unexciting, and I think that really helped. The speed of the game went up, the excitement of the game went up, and I think when you look at all of their games now, they really do favour faster games, not slower.
Especially when you got like hour and a half time limit in tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really the thing. The thing that made me immediately, because I played 7th and dipped in and out. I never played it very consistently because I found it a very laborious game system. It was a bit slow, it was a bit clunky. You didn't have proper big units. It felt like a bit of a skirmish game. So why would I not play 40k Lord of the Rings, which was much faster and
Yeah.
felt very similar in terms
Lord
of
of the Rings
numbers
was
and model.
slow at that time.
It felt, and felt kind of.
Just more fluid, I guess.
Well, yeah,
Maybe
just-
not
just-
faster, but fluid.
Just felt, well, they were faster games. I mean, in 7th and 6th, the average game length for a couple of thousand points was long. It was 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was time, and I'm not criticising. I know some people really like that, but it did feel like a slower pace of game. It wasn't as exciting, and particularly for me in 7th, when I looked and had optimised units of 7s for my elves and a dragon, you know what I mean? Like, and some 7s and a couple of small units for shooting and some bolt throws. Like, it wasn't a mass battle game, so why would I not feel... If I'm going to take a small number of models, I'll take a game system that moves faster, like 40k, which was much more shooting. Shooting does a lot more damage, you know? And I've got transports that beam up the table really quickly.
Ooh, transports. Do you think they could bring those into fantasy?
I don't think so.
I don't think it really... There's not really any army that it really makes sense for.
No, but...
No.
Unless they really wholesale, like, change an army's lore or fluff.
Yeah, I don't think transports will come in.
I just think it could be completely different. But then it wouldn't really work with the fantasy battles of just two armies march up. You know, they have their camp, they set up, and the next day they kill each other.
You've still got to have battle lines, haven't you? I think
Yeah.
of some description, really.
One thing we can all agree on: please fix ambushes.
Yeah, ambushes is a poor rule. It needs to be optional.
Yes, just needs to be a choice.
Just needs to be optional,
It needs an auto turn.
And it needs an auto arrival turn. Yeah, I would even favour. To look at another set of Games Workshop rules again, going back a little bit, I'd even favour sort of old reserve rules from games like 40k where it doesn't come on, it comes on like a 4 on turn 2, then a 3, then a 2, then an auto, something like that. So it gets more likely that they'll arrive to represent them making their way to the battle.
Yeah.
And then being waylaid. Rather than saying, well, it's a 3 every time, but if you don't roll a 3, it never shows up. It's just, it's poor.
Bitter taste in the mouth, isn't it?
It's poor.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing. I think the reason you don't see more people taking the chance is because there is always that chance they just don't show up.
Yeah.
And I have played games where they didn't. I played Godzilla the Hunter, I think it was, on his wolves in a game, and we got to turn 5, and the guy's like, right, I'll roll for my Godzilla, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, mate, but I've wiped your army out. The game's finished.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not like being big man here. He had a terrible game. His dice was dreadful, and you know it all goes wrong. But what I mean is like,
I know.
What I mean is, you know, the guy was going to roll for them on like turn 5 or turn 6, but he didn't get a chance because the rest of his army was dead, and he had a really big unit of them. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But it never came on the table.
I had similar at
you know,
an event I went to a few years ago now. That was actually at Balls and Swords before we were going to Balls and Swords. And I played a guy with, what's his name? Wolfric, the Wanderer.
Yep.
In like 30 Marauders.
Now that is points.
Yeah,
that's not
even cheap.
That's like 400 or 500.
But he's got his own rule, doesn't he? It's not his isn't ambushes. It's something slightly different.
It is slightly different.
Sea-Fang,
but it's essentially the same thing. It's a fixed value. I think that he comes on. It's not like an auto come on the next turn. But I like the guy had 4, 5 Marauder Horsemen left by like turn 5 when he finally came on, and it's just like. So it's not even when
what
it's
impacts
like,
are they going to have now? Unless you've traded piece for piece like an old-fashioned chess match, and you've got a tiny handful left,
which isn't going to happen when you've got 500 points off the board, really.
And this is it. It's that overwhelming. It's a double negative when they don't show up quickly, because what it does then is it allows your opponent to really overwhelm what you have got.
Yeah,
it becomes really challenging.
Yeah, because the whole point of the ambushes deep strike was to get a big force in an area where your opponent can't counter very easily quickly. And it doesn't happen if it comes up turn 5.
No, not at all.
Which is a shame, because it would add another dimension to the game and open up a lot more tactics.
Yeah.
If it wasn't just 2 battle lines marching each other.
Yeah.
I just think there's something there that needs fixing. I would degrade the
4-3-2
arrival time. Yeah, I'd do it like that.
4-3-2 instant.
Yeah,
that's quite good.
Yeah.
At least you come on turn 4.
Starting from turn 2 on a 4. Yeah, you know,
then
so
turn
you're
3, then turn 4, then 5.
So by 5, if you're not there, at least you know they're coming. At least you know you're not giving the points away for the sake of it.
Because the Green Knight can do that. He's nearly 400 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he 375?
No, he's 275. It's really good, the Green Knight.
But the thing with he doesn't come on.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, he can't be your general, and you do see that he is not used a lot.
No, not really.
He makes an appearance because he does have competitive edge, but
he's an ethereal lord. That's really good.
Yeah. With armour. It's ethereal with armour and a ward save is wild.
Yeah.
But I think that he's got a lot of balance to him in the fact that he can show up, can fail to show up, can't be a general, he's got problems.
So, can't do any units, he's ethereal.
He does have problems, and I think the crucial element with him is the unbreakable unstable. The fact that you can crumble him out.
Yeah.
But you need a weakness, like you said, with the unit killer spells. You always
Everything
need a
needs a
counter.
weakness. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's all it comes back to for me is I like things to have counters, and I think that's where people actually. I don't think people always realise it, but that's where people actually get upset. Why do people really hate the Ball of Nurgle? Because they don't feel like it has a counter. They feel like it's really hard to kill. It builds its tally up, and then actually it kills anything once it's to that point.
Yeah, which is they're not wrong.
The issue
It
is
does
No
kill
one
anything at that
complains
point.
about having Purple Sun on their side of the table when they're
No.
fighting that list.
Well, the issue with that one, in my opinion, is it's not the Wall of Nurgle, it's Epi.
Yeah.
He makes them significantly better. However, even without Epi, Wall of Nurgle is still very tough for a lot of
It's
armies.
hard to break down, but it's not. It doesn't score.
It doesn't
the volume
then
of
kill
kills.
everything without Epi.
I
Yeah, it's very
personally
fair.
think that there's. I'd make massive changes to Epidemus. I've talked about it before. I'd do it inverse. I'd invert it.
So wins taken.
As you take damage, the army gets stronger, rather than
Yeah,
as you
that's
do
fair.
damage. To represent Nurgle trying to support his forces. The tally, Epidemus telling him that the tally of troops is dropping, you need to get involved.
Or this is what the troops are weak against, so
Yeah.
this is what needs improving.
Yeah, if you want to say he's a tally man, it's all done on numbers. He's saying, look, your numbers are falling, you need to do something, and he does something. At least then you don't get the snowball effect. The problem with that mechanic is it's a snowball effect. As you're winning, the more you're killing,
it's
the
getting
better
easier
you
to
get
win.
at killing, and it becomes easier to keep winning.
Yeah.
See, I
That's
thought
the
you
problem.
meant that you take off the kills you've suffered off the tally number.
No, I'd just make
Just
the
have it
number of
on
models
wins
that
suffered.
that died from me be the number. So if I'm getting smashed,
You get
I'm getting stronger. And I've got
Yeah.
more chance to turn the game around. I'd do that. Or alternatively, I would just the one that I would 100% needs to go is +1 strength.
Yeah, because strength 6 plague drones.
That's the worst
Strength
of it
5
because it's the strength.
basic
The whole
drones.
army strength 5 then.
What a pain. What a pain.
And that's the thing. Other than outside of the drones, they are only strength 4 across the board.
Yeah.
There's a lot of armies they then struggle to deal with. They struggle to deal with
Armour.
Empire because
Much
the number of
decent
models
armour.
and the quality of armour that's
Yeah.
available. So you've got big blocks of stuff that is poorly armoured. That's a lot to deal with. Or you've got smaller blocks of really well armoured stuff. They struggle.
Yeah.
Warriors of Chaos, they struggle then because of the saves. But at the moment, once they hit
And the worst thing
The
is it's the
first
first one,
point of the
so
tally.
it then makes it easier to get
To
all the
get
rest
all
of
the
the
rest
points.
of them,
'cause
yeah, it's
you
just-
you kill 7 models and you've got +1 strength to
just
crush your
silly.
entire army
You do it with one turn with Beast of Nurgle.
easily. It's ridiculous.
it's too good, and I do think that what that does by giving them the strength first, like you say, it makes it easy to max out the tally, which then makes them in turn almost impossible to kill.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, then the wheels have just come off. it's game over. The
Game over at that point.
The wheels are off. You're a box
And you got to try and kill Epi. And
Yeah,
Epi
which is
can-
not easy.
Oh,
No,
well,
well, I
depends
mean,
what they roll.
to be
Well, I mean,
completely
if you
honest
get
with you,
shaken, it's
thanks to our FAQ, it's better because you did have a lot of people portaglyphing him at the start of
Yeah.
the set of rules.
Saying
It's
you'd have
not
to kill a
on-
great
it's-
unclaimed one or whatever had the portaglyph to
Get
then
him
throw
on
the
the table.
portaglyph to get him on the table and
And
then
then
kill
kill
him.
it. So
Or hide him behind a building.
Or hide, yeah, or just hide him behind
ridiculous.
it.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know when people felt that was legit in the rules. Like, I can use a model special rule when he's not on the table. I don't think so.
I mean, every system, even to be fair, even Lord of the Rings has had to have that FAQ in.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
FAQ.
wild when you look at it
Yeah.
and think, well, I can't add my wizard level. The wizard can't dispel if they're not on the table. So what makes you think you can give all your special rules out when you're not? Like, what?
Yeah.
Because off
But
the table is Battlefield Live, right?
that's and this is the thing. And we had the conversation about this recently about assassins.
Yeah, we did.
Can an assassin's item have an effect whilst they're
Oh,
hidden?
they're hidden.
I was also thinking about
No,
getting that
because
with
they're off the table.
Dark Elf Assassin Ring of Hotek.
Yeah.
Just go, you can't hurt my magic resistance 3, and if you cast near me.
That's exactly what
And
it was.
that's
It was
it, yeah,
a
that's
+3 on
correct.
an assassin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was
It
it
was-
a Skaven one. I'm not sure
No,
the
it was
Dark Elf
Dark
ones can take it. Are they not magic weapon only, or is that a death egg I'm thinking of?
Death
Death
Hags.
Egg.
Yeah, you're right, it is actually, because I remember John used to take the black dragon egg on one. Yeah, which is quite funny. It makes
But
you trigger
yeah.
on top of 6.
Yeah, it's K-Knight Assassin in Witch Elf, so
Yeah.
it's got MR3, so the Witch
It's
Elf's
pretty
got
much
MR3.
The witch elves can't stab him.
Yep.
Yeah,
He's
because they
K-Knight
can't see him.
anyway.
He's K-Knight anyway.
And you've now
You
got
can't hurt
MR3.
him. Yeah.
You can't hurt him. Like, that's not right. He's not on the table. If he's not on the table, you can't use
doesn't
his
have an
equipment.
effect.
That's fair.
And it says, because it says in the description of him, he's not deployed on the table.
Yeah.
You mark the unit, he's hidden.
Yeah.
So, but again, the fact that you're having to fish that out shows
It should just...
it should just be really,
clear in
really clear.
characters.
When a model is hidden, they have no effect on the tabletop. One sentence. That's all you got, man. just saying.
If we're going to go that far, you might as well actually try and reorganise the rulebook into being logical.
Oh yeah. But I think that is hard in a game as complex as fantasy, because it is complex, because you are always going to have, like, you'll probably play a game where actually the layout of the rulebook makes sense and it's all next to each other what you want and it's perfect, but you're also going to play a lot of games where it's like, right, there's a rule from like page 300 that interacts with the rule on page 7.
I seem to, the one that
and it's just going to be
always sticks in my head, I'm sure this is the case, I might be wrong, but there's the rules on randomising hits and allocating, randomising the hits and allocating attacks.
Right.
They're miles apart. Miles apart. And you see people always arguing about, well, you know, no, I allocate those and I randomise this and like who chooses who's hit. Like, and they're at the opposite end of the rulebook. I seem to remember, but I've lost count of times as a judge at an event going over and being like, hold on, have you also got your
pages
rulebook
that way?
Right, I want both of them out. You in this section, you in this. Right, describe the situation to me and I'm going to work out which one applies.
Yeah.
Lovely, I think it's this one. This is why.
You shouldn't have to do that though.
So, but I mean, I'm not going to criticise.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I do think we've seen, there is massive positives when you streamline and slim back rules. Massive. The game is easier to access, it's easier to get into. And for me, the thing that was great about Warhammer is you had basic and advanced rules. You start with a basic, and it's actually laid out like that. People forget it. But actually, the basic rules, good, accessible. The advanced rules, you then come to later.
Yeah.
And I think
It is quite hard for a new person to get into fantasy.
yeah. I think it's harder because of that lack of distinction, but actually get started with the basics and then work on the advanced.
It's also the money. It's not a cheap hobby.
Yeah,
It's made harder now, obviously, that it's not sold
Yeah.
generally unless you go to third
However, the
parties,
combat
but-
patrol boxes are quite nice for certain factions.
but I think this is something else. I mean, when we were playing 40k, we talked about this.
It's not actually
It's
that
not
much
actually
cheaper
any
to buy
difference
40k
really
army.
in price. Like I whack out a Dark Elder army and it was like 400 quid.
Or an Age of Sigmar army,
Yeah,
which is obviously
which
the
is
more
the
direct
same.
comparison.
I'm used to Lord of the Rings, where it's 50 quid.
Yeah, Lord of the
Army's
Rings
done.
is
Yeah.
so much less. But it's a totally different
You
system.
also
It's tiny, isn't it?
Pay that in the quality of the sculpts. A lot of the warriors are 20 odd years old.
Yeah, I mean some of the models are old now, aren't they? Yeah,
Some of
that's
the Lord of the
fair.
Rings ones are really nice though.
Yeah, I do.
Like
like those.
the Wood Elfy ones, the Lothlorien elves.
Oh,
They're-
you mean the armpit guy? Which sniffing his armpit?
Do you mean the plastic ones or the metal
The
ones?
plastic ones.
Oh, I like the metal ones, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think the Uruk-hai have held up really well.
Anyway,
Yeah,
back to fantasy.
yeah.
Sorry, I know I keep doing this.
But
No,
yeah,
but
I
we
think
go on a tangent a
I
lot.
know, yeah.
yeah, I think that the basic and I think that the positive of basic slimline rules is obviously the speed you can get into it, the accessibility, and that's great. But you just lose so much, and you just get so many massive grey areas in the rules. And I will say the thing that is good about fantasy, particularly 8th, the book is really packed full of a lot of scenarios. We always criticise the ones we find.
Yeah.
We never think about the ones that are covered. We
Yeah,
never think
that's
about
an
the
excellent
ones that the
point.
book covers. We
Yeah.
always think about, well, actually, I was playing on Sunday evening and in this particular scenario, but actually,
That you've only ever had happen once in
that's
5
it.
years.
Yeah,
I
like, well, and that's it.
Yeah.
And actually, when you look, the vast majority of what's going on is in there,
Yeah.
which is great.
And if we had a living FAQ like most games do now,
That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's
It will
like
fix it.
because you can't email Games Workshop's rules writing team and say, you know, what's like here's the question, what's the answer to this question, and get it in an FAQ. It feels that much worse.
yeah, it's a shame
Because you
some
can't
army
get that
books never
answer.
got that FAQ.
Yeah, that's also.
And
very
I
fair.
think that's where
Yeah.
the community should be given a lot of credit because,
Pat yourself on the back there.
well, no, I think it really comes down to the community. Like
Yeah.
we have an FAQ document
Yeah.
that
very, very
we add
useful.
on the end of our event packs. Now, I think you know people have chosen to use that or to use the bones of our event packs for events and to stick in general with the sort of the points in our FAQ quite commonly, and that's their choice. So I can't say, well, that's on us. That's not. That's on you guys.
Yeah.
That's on everyone that's chosen to
Yeah.
do that and to continue to do that. So you've got an FAQ that becomes the FAQ,
sort of
you
live
know, a
FAQ,
live
yeah.
FAQ, and we do update it every year.
Yeah.
With
We do
stuff
take
that comes
questions
up
on
at our
it
events.
and,
We
yeah.
do take a lot of questions,
Yeah.
and
You've
we
had a lot of questions off us.
And we will add
Yeah.
those. They'll now we have a document we keep with all of the
Every
questions
year
we've
that
received
gets
on
added,
it.
yeah.
And when we update our pack every year, we put in the new FAQs.
I imagine a lot of them will be Monstrous Arcanum, like you were saying earlier.
That's
Not-
got
not
a
on
lot in the
camera.
past few years.
Yeah. there's a lot of really weirdly worded rules because it's
Yeah.
Forge World. And of the era of Forge when it was made, of any of you
Yeah.
played 40k, at that time, there's 6th and 7th,
Mm.
there was some weird, bizarre units. Even with Fantasy, the
We
rules
had
just
that.
made no sense.
We had that with Tamakan in the deep dive last week, didn't we? When we were looking at his rules,
Yeah.
and
'Cause
his whole
rules
possession rules
contradict
just
each other.
don't really make a lot of sense.
So
yeah.
we're like, well, we'll put that in the
We'll
FAQ.
have to do something about that.
And that's the thing. But like I say, I credit the community with that because they're the people that get involved with us positively. They're the people that come to us and talk to us about
Yeah.
it. And ultimately, they're the ones that choose to then take our FAQ and use it, which is we're so grateful for because what you have done is you've taken that document and made it like the living document that in general everyone refers back to.
Yeah.
That's a good thing because actually everyone benefits from that. Because when I go to an event in Wales or in Yorkshire,
Yeah.
you know, the document is something I'm familiar with. I know I know what to expect. I know what it's going to say. Now everyone makes small print changes here and there.
Yeah.
But in generally, everyone is sort of using that now.
Yeah.
And I think that the impact for everyone is positive because of that.
Yeah.
That's just
Getting
me
a
personally.
community playing not just the same rules, but the same.
The same way.
Interpretation.
The same interpretation of those rules.
I think it really helps.
Yeah. It helps.
Because then
More events spring up.
everyone knows what to do. Like when you get a new person going, you've got
Yeah.
several people saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And what you've got is a replacement for the lack of centralisation in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And that only happens because people choose to jump on board.
Yeah.
And then we say that all the time when
Yeah.
people say to us, can we use your pack or we're going to use a version
Like,
of
yeah, go
yeah,
like.
please do. Like, lovely.
Absolutely.
We're so grateful.
Yeah.
Sounds really weird. We're grateful you do it because what you've got now is something that as a community we kind of centralise around this little pillar
Yeah.
of things. And actually it really helps. I remember talking to Alan Benison and he was like, it's a common language. He's like, I might play someone, I might agree to go to Warhammer World to play someone I've never met and I'll be like, what do you want to do? Do you want to use Triple Crown comp? You know, like, do you want to, what sort of comp score do you want to
Yeah.
have?
Do you want like soft
You
lists?
know,
like
soft
plus
list, hard list, what do you
Yeah.
want to do? And he's like, it's great because I go and I play someone I've never met and we both go in with exactly the same expectations
Yeah.
because we've used that common language.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really lovely way of summing up the positive for the
For
community.
using
from
it,
Because
not
ultimately-
just in an event, but using it in sort of
in
casual
most
events
cases,
as well.
a +2 is a +2 for whatever army you choose.
Yeah, it's going to be around the same.
Yeah,
sort
close
of power
enough to
level.
have a fun
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we know the system's never perfect. That's why we
there's
adjust it.
so many.
I mean, it's 3 of you making
So
it as
many
opposed to the whole
variables.
team.
It's been a long time that it's been. And if I showed you Triple Crown 1 and you looked at the pack then as it was before
Oh, yeah, it
before
looks
we
so
had the
different.
channel, it was just numbered.
Yeah.
Because we did it every year. And it was before you were
Yeah.
even involved in it. It was just me and Dan Markham originally, and then Dan went, and my brother got involved, and it was me and my brother.
I've got paint on my jeans.
Uh,
This is a disaster.
But if you look back at Triple Crown 1, the comp. I mean, there's still some stuff you look at and go, that's never changed because
Yeah.
that's dirty. But
Red Fury.
Yeah, Red Fury, interesting. That's always been on the comp. Paradise, you say. But so much around it has changed.
Yeah.
And that's because the community's interacted really positively. We've got lots of events under our belts
Yeah.
and lots of things change.
Lots of other people's events. As
Lots
well.
of other people use it.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. It helps the game to live, to breathe,
Yeah.
to continue. So, and that only comes from people.
the community.
We can't do that.
Yeah.
That's you.
We can put on
that's
our
you
events
and you
and
at home,
create
yeah?
the pack, but it's the community using that pack regularly, getting involved with those events that.
It's their questions.
Keeps it
It's them adopting.
active.
Them questioning.
Do you get much feedback from the events of questions you haven't thought of?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
From
I mean,
other people's events that have used your pack?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes we're at them. I mean, the first year I went to Cardiff, I did some judging there with the team
Me and
because they were
Max
just
did
not totally familiar with.
last year.
Yeah, they weren't
when we
totally
last went
familiar
to
with
Cardiff.
our pack at the time, and
Yeah.
they decided to use it and stuff, which was great. And we got involved and helped out a
Yeah.
little bit. It was lovely, and that was really lovely for them to ask me. It was nice to be involved that way, but. Yeah, and we came back
We've
with some
got-
stuff on a list that we were
Yeah.
like, we need to make sure that we tidy that up, or this was interesting, this did really well, and we hadn't necessarily seen this combination. So
Yeah.
we're always trying to.
We have guys in Sweden who've used our pack a couple of times, or they just used it for the first time actually. So yeah, they use it on their channel now.
Yeah, they used to
and
be
then-
Swedish comp.
Yeah,
and then
now
the
they're
last
using.
4 or 5 minute Triple Crown?
Yeah, now they're using that because there's some guys in Sweden running an event who have just run an event. I want to say about a month ago, using our pack. We got loads of questions from them, which is great. Obviously, you guys came to me because I do all the socials, because I'm the only one that does any work on this channel.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
You guys at home can decide what you think you'll see first.
Well,
Yeah, not them.
If it's you and dwarves, I give you 3 years.
Yes.
Finish this.
Thank you.
That's moving along nicely.
You haven't started on the base fully though, have you? So you
No,
can do
it's
that as well.
miles to do.
Yeah.
Ages. 2 hours probably or more.
And the rest of the air fleet, we've got what, 4 or 5 more?
I've got another 4 gyros and 2 bombers.
Yeah, so 6 more. So average of 1 a year, 6 years.
We're good.
So we might go in second edition of the New Old War.
I'll try to get faster, guys. Look, I'm sorry. We've digressed and we've insulted me, so that's fine.
Which was worth it. But we also get people using our narrative packs, actually, it's worth saying.
Yeah.
Our old narrative packs. We've got a guy in Canada running an event a couple of months' time, June, I think it is. So definitely check that out. I will put the link in the description because I can't remember where it is, but I'll put a link to
Canada's quite a big country.
Yeah, I'll put a link to
Some
the
space out there.
Somewhere in
place where
Canada.
you can buy the tickets in the description below. He's using our Scorching of Khemri pack. So the first one of the triple that finished last year, which is very cool. Don't know if he'll run the other 2, but obviously if you get involved,
He's got the option to, hasn't he?
yeah, get involved and support that event. There'll be more events you can go to in North America. I don't know how many there are, but I can't imagine there are many.
Well,
We have had people in North America ask about using our pack, but I don't know if that went sort of much further than that. But in the
they
USA,
just had
Yeah.
Adepticon, didn't they?
yeah, and
They
obviously
did,
there's no
yeah.
fantasy at Adepticon.
There
I
was?
don't think.
There was
It's a Square Hammer.
yeah.
Oh, was it the Square Hammer
video,
guys?
Yeah, it was, but I think it was Army's project.
No,
Oh, was it 8?
It was actually
Was it
8th. Yeah, they
Okay.
released a video on YouTube recently of just like 10-minute snippets of how the games
Yeah.
went.
Oh, okay.
But they mainly do Army's project.
Yeah, Swearhammer mainly.
I'm
do
not
Army's
going to
project,
say the
but-
acronym.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So yeah, they did. I knew they had some going on, but I thought, well, some fancy, but I thought it was whack. But yeah,
They do a lot of
that's
6th
cool.
as well.
They do.
It has. Yeah, I mean it's gone out there, and obviously in the UK in particular, it's become really
very
well used. And
yeah,
again,
very
we
common.
can only thank people for that, because I think the UK community now is stronger than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Massively stronger than it was
Yeah.
5
I
years
wasn't
ago.
part of it 5 years ago.
And that's
We
it.
dragged
And
you
there's a
into
lot of people that were.
you weren't the ones that dragged me into the kick of the screen.
You got dragged into it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you
And-
look at how beautiful the models are,
Yeah.
it's hard not to.
And I think, from a point of view of the channel, it's you guys that support us as well. I mean,
Yeah.
it only happens really because people watch it.
Yeah.
And that's it really, if I'm being honest. So
It still confuses me that England and Sweden are the top 2. Like of all the countries in the world, why
Yeah.
Sweden? And why the Swedish comp has always been around.
yeah, Sweden always had a really thriving fantasy scene. That Northern European scene was always really vibrant and strong. It's never been any different as long as I've been in the game, 20 years. So
Must have something about it.
Wonder if that will come back with the old world.
I would suggest so, because they got really into Ninth Age.
Yeah.
And it seems to have they were Swedish, the guys that started that.
Oh, was it?
Ah, okay.
So
Who's did Army's project? Was that Americans?
no, it's one guy, Matthias,
Yeah.
isn't it? I'm not even gonna guess,
I
but
don't
I think
know.
that if I was looking at his name, and I don't want to, I would suggest it's got a Scandinavian sort of style
Denmark,
to
maybe.
it. But obviously,
It could be from anywhere.
people
let's
live
be fair.
everywhere now. Don't they? The beauty
Could
of
be anywhere.
the beauty of the global world we live in. But yeah, certainly. I know that English isn't his first language. I know that because he translates the books into English. I do know that. So there you go.
Interesting. Fun fact.
Fun
for
fact
you.
for you. That was something I was told a long time ago. There you go.
Interesting. A fun fact for us to, I think, end on. Thank you very much for joining us, Alex.
Well, thank you
And
for having me. It's
we
been fun.
look
been a
forward
pleasure.
to seeing you in 2 weeks' time on the Take the Ground that we've already filmed.
It's a cracking game, many
It is a
tears,
cracking
many
game.
laughs, but it was a fun game.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad you enjoyed
Me
it.
too.
And hopefully you will all enjoy it at home when you watch it. Thank you all for joining us. Hope we didn't bore you too much with our ramblings. I hope we gave you some good advice on the list and sort of what we liked about it, what we'd maybe change. But yeah, we will.
It was in there somewhere.
It was
You
in
got
there,
myself
spread
in.
out across about the
If
last
you do
hour.
run it, let us know how it goes, because
Yeah.
I play Dark Elves and I'd be intrigued to know how a dragon goes, because
Yeah.
that looks like a very interesting model just to build and paint.
It's
Yeah.
a kit.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's
the
a
dragon
lovely
kit. It's a
kit.
lovely
The
kit.
bits are amazing. And
Yeah.
any viewers, can I vote? Scales or skin?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
what's
what
that?
Scales or skin?
What for Alex to put on his cloak? Make it scaly or make it sort of patchy
Fleshy.
skin?
Fleshy.
Mm.
That is a word. It's a weird word for a cloak, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fleshy
Yes.
cloak.
It's got a fleshy
property to it.
Let us know in the comments. But yeah, thank you for joining us today. Make sure you head back to the Night of Run Musting Ground for all of our other exclusive content. But we will see you next time.
See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a Knight of the Realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
We alright? Do it for Warhammer!